The champagne glass trembled in Nathan Pierce's hand as the three men closed in around his table like wolves circling wounded prey. White tablecloth, crystal centerpieces, the happy chatter of wedding guests, it all blurred into background noise as the man in the gray suit leaned close enough for Nathan to smell his bitter cologne. "Sign the papers, Pierce. Tonight. Or tomorrow morning, every news outlet gets the documents." The words came out smooth, practiced, deadly. "Fraud. Embezzlement. Tax evasion. Your face will be on every screen in America by breakfast." Nathan's jaw clenched. The documents were fake, manufactured lies created by these corrupt investors who'd somehow infiltrated his company's inner circle. But fake didn't matter in the court of public opinion. His billion-dollar tech company would collapse before he could prove his innocence. 20,000 employees would lose their jobs. Charities that depended on his foundation would shutter. His parents' legacy would turn to ash. "You're asking for 60% of my company." Nathan kept his voice low, steady, even as his heart hammered against his ribs. "That's theft." The second man, shorter with slicked-back dark hair, smiled without warmth. "That's business. You have until midnight to decide. We'll be watching." The third man, silent until now, placed a thick envelope on the table. "Everything we'll release is in there. Take a look. Imagine it on the front page. Then imagine signing it all away to us instead." Nathan stared at the envelope like it was a coiled snake. 3 weeks of this. 3 weeks of being followed, photographed, threatened at restaurants and parking garages, and now, unbelievably, at his business partner's wedding. He'd told no one. What could he say? That he was being blackmailed by people he'd trusted with investment deals? That his entire life's work hung by a thread? His hand moved toward the envelope, and he hated himself for the tremor in his fingers. He was Nathan Pierce. He'd built an empire from a college dorm room. He'd survived market crashes and hostile takeovers and ruthless competition. But this felt different. This felt like drowning in deep water with no shore in sight. The wedding continued around them, oblivious. Someone laughed. Music played. The bride and groom cut their cake at the front of the reception hall. Normal people having a normal celebration while Nathan's world crumbled in a corner table surrounded by criminals in expensive suits. "Midnight," the gray-suited man repeated, checking his gold watch. "That gives you 4 hours to make the right choice." They started to move away, satisfied they'd delivered their message, when a voice cut through Nathan's despair like sunlight through storm clouds. "There you are, honey. I've been looking everywhere for you." Nathan's head snapped up. A woman slid into the empty chair beside him with the confidence of someone who belonged there. She was beautiful, her dark skin glowing against a deep red dress that seemed to capture every bit of light in the room. Natural curls framed her face, and her brown eyes held his with an intensity that made him forget to breathe. "I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic was terrible." She reached over and placed her hand on his, her touch warm and steady and somehow anchoring. Then she leaned in close, her lips nearly brushing his ear, and whispered so softly only he could hear, "Pretend I'm yours." The three men had stopped, turned back, staring at this unexpected interruption. The woman looked up at them with a polite smile. "Oh, I'm sorry. Am I interrupting a business discussion?" "Nathan, darling, you promised tonight was just about celebrating Amanda and Greg's wedding." Nathan's mind raced. He had no idea who this woman was. He'd never seen her before in his life. But something in her eyes, a fierce determination mixed with compassion, told him to trust her. To take the lifeline she was offering even though he didn't understand it. "No, sweetheart. We were just finishing." He turned his hand over so their fingers intertwined, following her lead. "Gentlemen, this is my girlfriend." The word felt strange on his tongue. Nathan Pierce didn't have a girlfriend. He didn't have time for relationships, didn't trust people enough to let them close. Work consumed everything. But the lie fell from his lips easily because it felt like the first honest thing he'd said in weeks. The woman extended her free hand to the man in the gray suit. "Simone Taylor. It's nice to meet Nathan's business associates. Though I have to say, talking shop at a wedding seems a bit much, doesn't it?" Her voice carried a gentle rebuke wrapped in friendliness. The men exchanged glances, clearly thrown off balance. "We didn't know Nathan was seeing anyone," the shorter man said, suspicion coloring his words. "Well, we've kept things private." Simone's smile didn't waver. "Nathan values his privacy, and honestly so do I. But we've been together for a few months now. Haven't we, sweetheart?" She looked at Nathan with such warmth, such easy affection, that for a moment he almost believed it himself. Almost forgot this was an act. "Yes," Nathan managed. "A few months." The gray-suited man's eyes narrowed. That's interesting. We've had people watching Nathan quite closely. No one mentioned a girlfriend. Simone laughed, the sound light and unbothered. Oh goodness, that sounds intense. Are you Nathan's security team or something? He did mention his company takes safety seriously. But I assure you I'm quite real. Would you like to see my driver's license? The gentle mockery in her tone made the man's face flush. He recovered quickly, but Nathan saw the flicker of uncertainty. These men had spent weeks learning his patterns, his habits, his isolation. This woman was a variable they hadn't accounted for. That won't be necessary, the third man said. We should let you two enjoy the evening. Nathan will talk later. Actually, Simone said, standing and pulling Nathan up with her, Nathan and I are leaving soon. Long drive ahead of us. But it was nice meeting you all. Nathan, darling, I think I hear them playing our song. She tugged him away from the table with gentle insistence. Nathan grabbed the envelope and followed, his heart still racing but now for different reasons. Who was this woman? Why had she intervened? What did she want? They wove through tables of wedding guests until they reached the edge of the dance floor. Other couples swayed to a slow jazz number. Simone turned to face him, placing one hand on his shoulder, keeping the other clasped in his. We need to look convincing, she said quietly. They're still watching. Just follow my lead and try to look like a man who's in love. Nathan pulled her closer, moving with the music even though dancing felt absurd given everything happening. Who are you? Why are you helping me? I'm someone who noticed you needed help. And I'm someone who doesn't walk away when people are in trouble. Her voice stayed low, meant only for him. I saw them corner you. I saw your face. You looked like a man drowning. So I jumped in. You don't even know me. I know you're in danger. I know those men are bad news. That's enough. She met his eyes, and Nathan saw no deception there, only conviction. My name really is Simone Taylor. I'm a guest here, Amanda's college roommate. I run a crisis management firm. It's what I do, help people when things fall apart. And Nathan, yours is falling apart, isn't it? The music swelled around them. Nathan found himself swaying with the stranger who'd somehow seen straight through to his terror and decided to stand between him and destruction. Yes, he admitted. Everything's falling apart. Then let me help you. Really help you, not just this performance. Simone's grip on his hand tightened. But first tell me the truth. Are those men dangerous? Will helping you put me at risk? Nathan thought about lying, about sending her away to keep her safe. But something in her steady gaze demanded honesty. They're blackmailing me. Trying to steal my company with manufactured evidence. I don't think they're violent, but they're ruthless. Helping me could get complicated. Could get messy. You should walk away. That's not how I work. Simone smiled, and Nathan felt something shift in his chest, some locked door beginning to open. I don't walk away. I walk toward. Now, let's give those men a show they won't forget, and then we're going to figure out how to save your company. Just like that? You don't even know me. I know you're worth saving. That's all I need to know. The song ended. Around them, couples separated, applauding the band. But Nathan and Simone stayed close, locked in their pretend embrace that didn't feel pretend at all. Thank you, Nathan said, meaning it with every fiber of his being. Thank you for seeing me. You're welcome, Simone replied. Now, shall we make our exit? I think you have a lot to tell me, and we have 4 hours until their deadline. Nathan nodded, and together they walked out of the reception hall, his hand still clasped in hers, leaving 3 confused and angry men watching from across the room. Outside in the cool night air, Nathan finally released her hand, though part of him wanted to hold on forever. I still don't understand why you did this. Simone turned to face him, the red dress vivid against the dark sky. Because kindness matters. Because hope matters. Because someone needed to stand with you and I was there. She pulled out her phone. Now give me your number. We have work to do, and Nathan, we're going to fix this. Together. For the first time in 3 weeks, Nathan felt something besides fear and despair. He felt hope. And it all started with a stranger's whisper, "Pretend I'm yours." Have you ever felt completely alone when you needed help the most? Could you walk away if you saw someone drowning in trouble? What would you do if a stranger offered you a lifeline? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to hear how Simone and Nathan's story unfolds. Will they stop the blackmailers? Will their pretend relationship become something real? Stay tuned to find out. Simone's car smelled like vanilla and leather, a sleek hybrid that matched her practical elegance. Nathan sat in the passenger seat, still processing everything that had happened in the last 30 minutes. The envelope from the blackmailers rested on his lap like a lead weight. Where are we going? he asked as Simone pulled out of the wedding venue's parking lot. Coffee shop 2 miles from here. Open late, quiet booths in the back, good lighting for reading documents. She glanced at him. I assume those papers in your lap are what the men were threatening you with? Yes. Fake evidence. Very convincing fake evidence. Then we need to look at it together. Figure out what we're dealing with. Simone's calm competence steadied him. She drove with the same confidence she'd shown walking into his nightmare and pretending to be his girlfriend. But first, tell me everything. Start from the beginning. Nathan took a breath. Talking about this made it real in a way that letting it fester in his mind hadn't. 3 weeks ago, I met with 3 investors about a potential partnership. Richardson, DeLuca, and Torres. They'd approached my company months earlier with what seemed like a legitimate investment opportunity. Good references, solid financial backgrounds. Everything checked out. But it didn't check out, Simone said. No. It was all fabricated. They're con artists, apparently very good ones. Nathan ran his hand through his hair. At that first meeting 3 weeks ago they laid it out. They had documents, they said, proving I'd been embezzling from my own company, committing fraud, evading taxes. All fake but expertly manufactured. Bank statements, emails, memos with my signature. How did they get your signature? I'd signed preliminary investment documents months ago during initial discussions. They must have used those somehow. I don't know all the technical details, but the evidence looks real enough to destroy me even after I prove it's false. The damage would be done. Simone pulled into the coffee shop parking lot, a small place called Java Dreams with warm yellow lights glowing through wide windows. She turned off the car but didn't move to get out yet. So they created a fake case against you, then demanded what? Money? Company shares. 60% of Pierce Technologies. They want majority control of a company worth $2 billion. If I give them that, they'll make the evidence disappear. If I don't, they release it to every media outlet tomorrow morning. That's not blackmail, Simone said quietly. That's extortion. Corporate terrorism. Yes. And you were going to give it to them. It wasn't a question. Nathan met her eyes. I was considering it. What choice did I have? If they release that information, my company crashes. 20,000 employees lose their jobs. My parents built the foundation of this company, they're both gone now, and I'd be destroying their legacy. Investors would flee. Partners would terminate contracts. Even after I prove the evidence is fake, which could take months or years, the damage would be irreversible. There's always a choice, Simone said gently. You just hadn't found it yet. That's where I come in. They went inside, ordered coffee, and settled into a corner booth far from the handful of other late-night customers. Nathan spread the documents from the envelope across the table. Simone pulled reading glasses from her purse and began studying each page with focused intensity. These are good, she admitted after 10 minutes. Very professional forgeries. They've even got transaction histories that would take serious forensic accounting to disprove. So what do we do? Nathan heard the desperation creeping back into his voice. Simone looked up, her brown eyes sharp. We don't panic. We don't give in. And we definitely don't hand over 60% of your company to criminals. But the deadline is a pressure tactic. They want you scared and scrambling. But think about it, Nathan. If they release this evidence tomorrow, what do they get? Nothing. Media attention? Sure. Your company's stock crashes? Probably. But they get $0 and zero control. This only works if you give in. Nathan felt something click in his mind. You're right. They're bluffing. Maybe not entirely. They might release some information to prove they're serious. But the full reveal? That's their nuclear option, and they don't want to use it any more than you want them to. Because once it's public, their leverage disappears. Right now you're desperate and they're in control. The moment this goes public, they become suspects in a fraud investigation and you become a victim. So what's our move? Simone smiled and Nathan saw the strategist in her come alive. We call their bluff but carefully. And we gather evidence against them while pretending to play along. But first, we need to make our fake relationship very real in appearance. They're watching you, Nathan. If I disappear tomorrow, they'll know tonight was a setup. You want to keep pretending to be my girlfriend? I want to actually help you take them down. The girlfriend cover gives us time and throws them off balance. They weren't prepared for you to have someone in your corner. We use that advantage. Nathan studied her across the table, this stranger who'd jumped into his life with both feet. What? You still haven't really answered that. Why are you doing this? Simone took off her glasses and met his gaze directly. 5 years ago I lost my business. Not through anything I did wrong, but because someone more powerful decided they wanted what I'd built. They used legal tactics, dirty tricks, pressure campaigns. I fought, but I fought alone and I lost everything. My partner abandoned me. My friends gave advice but didn't help. Everyone told me to just give up, cut my losses. But you didn't. Eventually I had to. I lost that business. But I rebuilt, started my crisis management firm, and swore I'd never let someone fight that kind of battle alone again if I could help it. When I saw you tonight, surrounded by those men, looking exactly how I felt 5 years ago, I couldn't walk away. I won't walk away. The rawness in her voice made Nathan's chest tight. I'm sorry that happened to you. Don't be sorry. Be ready to fight. Because we're going to win this, Nathan. Together. Her certainty buoyed him. Okay. Tell me the plan. First, I move into your place. Has to be convincing that we're a couple. I'm guessing you live alone in some penthouse somewhere? Penthouse downtown. 32nd floor. Very alone. Not anymore. I'll pack a bag tonight and move in tomorrow. We tell everyone, including your assistant and close colleagues, that we've been dating for a few months but keeping it quiet. That establishes a timeline that predates the blackmail, which supports the story. Nathan nodded, already seeing how this could work. What else? We document everything. Every interaction with these men, recorded if possible. Every threat, every demand, every communication. We're building a case against them. My firm has connections with lawyers who specialize in this kind of corporate crime. We'll need them. They said they have people watching me. Good. Let them watch you being happy and in love. Let them watch you going to work, living your life, completely unrattled by their threats. It'll make them nervous, make them sloppy. Scared people make mistakes. And the deadline? Simone checked her phone. It's 9:30 now. You've got 2.5 hours until midnight. Don't respond. Don't call them. Let the deadline pass. See what they do. My guess is they'll contact you tomorrow with threats but not action. They'll push the deadline back, try to scare you more. Each time they do that, they lose leverage. Nathan felt hope spreading through him like warmth. You've really done this before. Different versions, yes. Helped executives facing hostile takeovers, politicians dealing with smear campaigns, companies managing PR disasters. Crisis management is about staying calm when everyone else panics. It's about strategy over reaction. And you're just going to do this? Help a stranger fight off blackmailers and potentially ruin your own life in the process. Nathan, listen to me carefully. Simone reached across the table and took his hand, the same grounding touch from the wedding. You're not a stranger. You're someone who needs help. That makes you someone I help. It's that simple. Kindness isn't complicated. Hope isn't conditional. And love, real love for humanity, means showing up when it matters. The words settled over Nathan like a blanket. He'd spent 3 weeks drowning in isolation, convinced he had to solve this alone, that asking for help meant weakness. This woman had shattered that belief in less than an hour. Thank you, he said again. I don't know how I'll ever repay you. You don't repay kindness. You pass it forward. Simone squeezed his hand before releasing it. Now, tell me about your company. I need to understand what we're protecting. What does Pierce Technologies do? Nathan launched into an explanation of his business, a tech company specializing in cybersecurity and data protection for other corporations. As he talked, Simone asked intelligent questions, took notes on her phone, and absorbed information like a sponge. Ironic, she noted, that a cybersecurity expert is being taken down by manufactured digital evidence. Believe me, I've thought about that. Nathan grimaced. These documents bypassed all our security protocols because they were created outside our systems and planted to look like they came from inside. We'll need your IT team to analyze them. Quietly. I trust my head of security, Beverly Chin. Nathan paused. Wait, that's not right. Her name is Beverly Chong, not Chin. Sorry, long day. It's fine. Is she trustworthy? Completely. She's been with me since the beginning, helped build the company from the ground up. If anyone can trace where these forgeries came from, it's Beverly. Good. Tomorrow you bring her into the loop. The three of us work together on this. Safety in numbers, more brains on the problem. Nathan checked his own phone. 10 o'clock. 2 hours until midnight. What do I do if they contact me before the deadline? Nothing. Let it ring. Let texts go unread. You're at a wedding, you're with your girlfriend, you're not thinking about business. That's the image we project. Confident. Unbothered. In control. Even though I'm terrified. Even though you're terrified. Fake it until it becomes real. Simone smiled. That's what we're doing with this whole relationship, right? Pretending until maybe it feels true? The question hung between them, loaded with unexpected weight. Nathan looked at this beautiful, fierce woman who'd crashed into his life with nothing but good intentions and a red dress. Maybe, he said softly. Maybe it already does feel a little true. Simone's expression softened. Let's focus on saving your company first. Romance can wait until we're not in crisis mode. But Nathan saw the faint blush on her cheeks, the way her eyes lingered on his face for just a moment longer than necessary. Something was already growing between them, something real beneath the pretense. His phone buzzed. A text from Richardson, the man in the gray suit. 2 hours, Pierce. Make the right choice. Nathan showed it to Simone. She read it and shook her head. Don't respond. Silence is power right now. They spent the next hour going through every detail of the past 3 weeks, every interaction Nathan had with the blackmailers, every piece of evidence they'd shown him. Simone took meticulous notes, building a timeline, identifying patterns. They're overconfident, she concluded. They think you're isolated and desperate. They didn't plan for you having help. That's their weakness, and it's going to be our weapon. At 11:30, Nathan's phone rang. Richardson calling. Nathan looked at Simone, who nodded permission. He answered on speaker. Mr. Pierce. Half an hour until our deadline. I trust you've made your decision? Nathan took a breath, drawing strength from Simone's presence across the table. I need more time. Time? We've given you 3 weeks. I need to review the documents with my lawyers. Something this big requires proper consideration. I'll need until next week at least. Silence on the other end. Then Richardson's voice, tighter now, angry. You're stalling. I'm being thorough. If I'm signing over 60% of my company, I need to understand every implication. Any reasonable person would want the same. Give me until Friday, then we'll talk. That's 5 days. Yes. 5 days to review everything properly with my legal team and my girlfriend, who happens to have a background in corporate law. The lie came easily, bolstered by Simone's encouraging nod. Surely you can wait 5 more days for a deal this size? Another pause. Nathan could almost hear Richardson's teeth grinding. Friday at noon. Not a minute later, Pierce. And if you're thinking about going to the authorities, remember we can release this information instantly. You'll be ruined before you finish filing the police report. Understood. Friday at noon. We'll talk then. Nathan hung up before Richardson could respond further. His hand shook as he set down the phone. Perfect, Simone said. You just bought us 5 days to build our case and gather evidence against them. Well done. I thought you said not to respond? I said don't cave to the deadline. What you did was negotiate, show strength, act like someone in control of the situation. That was exactly right. She reached over and steadied his still trembling hand. You did great, Nathan. Really great. The warmth of her praise filled him with something he'd almost forgotten, confidence. Pride. The feeling that maybe, just maybe, he could actually survive this. What now? He asked. Now we go to your place. I pack a bag and officially become your live-in girlfriend. Tomorrow we bring Beverly into this and we start fighting back. Simone stood, gathering the documents. Ready? Nathan stood too, feeling steadier than he had in weeks. Ready. As they walked to her car, Nathan realized something profound had shifted. Hours ago he'd been alone, terrified, convinced his only option was surrender. Now he had an ally. A partner. Someone who'd chosen to stand beside him for no reason except that it was the right thing to do. Simone, he said as they reached the car. I know I keep saying thank you, but I mean it. Thank you for being kind when you didn't have to be. She smiled up at him, the streetlight casting a glow around her face. That's what hope looks like, Nathan. It looks like someone showing up when you need them most. And that's what love does in all its forms. It shows up. Always. They drove to Nathan's penthouse in comfortable silence, the fake evidence packed away, 5 days stretching ahead of them, and the first fragile threads of something real beginning to weave between two people who'd been strangers just hours before. The midnight deadline came and went, ignored and powerless. And Nathan Pierce, for the first time in 3 weeks, went to sleep feeling something besides dread. He felt hope. Sunday morning sunlight streamed through Nathan's floor-to-ceiling penthouse windows, painting everything in shades of gold and white. Simone stood in his guest bedroom, the second-largest room in the apartment, unpacking the 2 suitcases she'd brought from her own place across town. This doesn't feel real, she admitted to herself, hanging a green blouse in the spacious closet. Her apartment could fit inside this bedroom alone. Nathan's home spoke of success and wealth, but also of loneliness. Every surface was immaculate, nothing out of place, no evidence of life being lived. It felt more like a showroom than a home. A knock on the door made her turn. Nathan stood in the doorway, dressed casually in jeans and a blue button-down, holding 2 coffee mugs. "Peace offering," he said. "I wasn't sure how you take your coffee, so I made it medium, 2 sugars." "That's perfect actually." Simone accepted the mug, surprised he'd guessed correctly. "Thank you. I called Beverly. Asked her to come over this morning to discuss a sensitive security matter. Didn't give details over the phone." Nathan leaned against the doorframe watching her unpack. "She'll be here in an hour. Is that enough time to get settled?" "More than enough. I'm almost done." Simone gestured around the bedroom. "This is beautiful, Nathan. Your whole home is beautiful. But it's also very empty," he finished. "You can say it. I know. I work a lot. Don't really have time for decorating or making a place feel lived in." "You don't have time or you don't let yourself have time?" The question landed between them with gentle weight. Nathan considered it, sipping his coffee. "Both maybe. After my parents died 4 years ago, work became everything. It was easier to focus on building the company, honoring their legacy, than to think about the fact that I was alone. So yes, this place is empty because I am. Or was. Maybe still am, I don't know." Simone's heart ached for him. Success meant nothing without people to share it with. "We'll fix that too," she said softly. "After we fix the blackmail situation, we'll work on making your life feel full instead of just busy." "Is that part of your crisis management service?" Nathan smiled, but his eyes held vulnerability. "It's part of being someone who cares." Simone set down her coffee and moved closer. "Nathan, we're doing this fake relationship thing, but I want you to know something. My care for you isn't fake. My desire to help isn't fake. Whatever happens with this situation, I genuinely want to see you happy. That's real." Nathan's expression shifted, something raw and grateful crossing his face. "No one said anything like that to me in a long time." "Then people haven't been paying attention. You're worth caring about." Before Nathan could respond, his phone buzzed. He checked it and his jaw tightened. "Richardson. Text message, enjoy your extra time, Pierce. The clock is ticking." "Let me see." Simone took his phone, read the message, then handed it back. "Don't respond. Keep ignoring them. Let them wonder what you're doing. It's hard to ignore threats. I know. But silence is strategy right now. Every time they reach out and you don't respond, they lose a little more control. They're used to you being scared and reactive. We're changing the pattern." Nathan nodded, pocketing his phone. "Beverly will want answers." "What do we tell her?" "Everything. She's your head of security, she needs the full picture. We tell her about the blackmail, about us pretending to be a couple to buy time, about the plan to gather evidence. Beverly's on our team now. How do you know we can trust her?" "You said you could. I trust your judgment." Simone smiled. "Besides, we can't do this alone, Nathan. The more good people we have in our corner, the better our chances." They spent the next hour preparing, organizing documents, building a timeline of events. Simone set up a workspace in Nathan's home office, a room with a stunning view of the city skyline and enough technology to run a small country. "You really are in cybersecurity," she noted, eyeing the multiple monitors and sophisticated equipment. "Best defense against digital threats is understanding them completely. I built this company on the idea that data protection isn't just about firewalls, it's about staying 3 steps ahead of anyone trying to breach them." Nathan's passion for his work showed in the way he explained it. "Which makes this situation even more frustrating. I know how fake evidence is created, I know the techniques, but I couldn't stop them because they came at me from outside my own systems. We'll stop them now. Together." At exactly 10 o'clock, the penthouse doorbell rang. Nathan answered it, and a short Asian woman in her late 40s walked in, her expression concerned. She wore gray slacks and a maroon sweater, her hair cut in a neat bob. Simone recognized competence and loyalty in the way Beverly immediately focused on Nathan. "What's wrong?" Beverly asked without preamble. "You sounded serious on the phone and you never asked me to come to your home. What's happened?" "Beverly, this is Simone Taylor." "Simone, Beverly Chong, my head of security and the best tech specialist in the business." Beverly looked between them, clearly confused. "Okay, nice to meet you. Now tell me what's going on." They sat in Nathan's living room, the 3 of them forming a triangle around the glass coffee table. Nathan took a breath and began explaining, starting with the initial meeting with the investors 3 weeks ago, through the escalating threats, right up to last night's wedding confrontation. Beverly's face grew increasingly alarmed as the story unfolded. When Nathan showed her the fake documents, she examined them with a professional eye, her fingers tracing the digital signatures. "These are sophisticated," she muttered. "Very high-level forgeries. Whoever made these has serious technical skills and resources." "Can you trace them?" Simone asked. "Maybe. Probably. It'll take time and some careful digging." Beverly looked up at Nathan, and Simone saw anger flash in her eyes. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" 3 weeks, Nathan. 3 weeks you've been dealing with this alone. I didn't want to drag anyone else into it. Didn't want to put you at risk. That's ridiculous. I'm your head of security. This is literally my job." Beverly turned to Simone. "And you are?" "Someone who saw Nathan being threatened last night and decided to help. I run a crisis management firm. I'm also pretending to be Nathan's girlfriend to throw the blackmailers off balance and buy us time to gather evidence against them." Beverly blinked. "That's either crazy or brilliant." "Both," Simone admitted with a smile. "Definitely both." "And you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart?" "Yes." Beverly studied her for a long moment, then nodded. "Okay, I believe you. Lord knows Nathan needs someone in his corner who isn't on his payroll. No offense, boss, but you're terrible at asking for help." "None taken," Nathan said wryly. "It's been pointed out to me recently. So what's the plan?" Beverly leaned forward. "All business now. We've got until Friday." "What do we do?" Simone pulled out her tablet, where she'd been making notes all morning. "First, you trace these documents. Find out where they were created, what software was used, any digital fingerprints that prove they're forgeries. That's our first line of evidence." "On it," Beverly said. "Second, we research these 3 men. Richardson, DeLuca, and Torres. Find out if they've done this before, if there are other victims, any history of fraud or corporate crime. They're too good at this to be first-timers." "I can do that too. I've got connections in corporate investigation circles." Third, Nathan and I maintain the relationship cover. We're seen together in public, we act like a couple, we make them believe we're legitimate. Meanwhile, we document every interaction with the blackmailers. Record calls if possible, save texts, get everything in writing. Nathan jumped in, and we prepare a backup plan in case they do release the fake evidence. Preemptive statements, crisis communication strategy, getting ahead of the narrative. Exactly. Simone looked at both of them. This isn't just defense, it's offense. We're building a criminal case against these men while protecting Nathan's company. By Friday we'll have enough to go to the authorities, or enough to make them back off entirely. Beverly grinned. "I like you. Nathan, your fake girlfriend is smart." "She is," Nathan agreed, his eyes on Simone. "Very smart." The way he looked at her made Simone's stomach flutter. This was supposed to be pretend, but the warmth in his gaze felt genuine. She pushed the thought aside. "Focus on the mission first, feelings later." "Okay," Beverly said, standing. "I'll take these documents back to my office, start the analysis. Nathan, I need your authorization to access some of the company's higher-level security protocols. Simone, can you send me everything you've compiled so far? Timeline, notes, all of it." "Absolutely." Simone rattled off her email address. "One more thing," Beverly added, her expression serious. "These men, if they're as dangerous as you say, we need to be careful. They're watching Nathan. They might start watching you too, Simone. And if they realize we're building a case against them, they could escalate." "I know," Simone said. "We'll be careful. All of us." Beverly nodded, then surprised Simone by pulling her into a quick hug. "Thank you for helping him. He's too stubborn to admit when he needs people, so thank you for showing up anyway." "You're welcome." After Beverly left, Nathan and Simone stood by the windows, looking out at the city stretching below them. "That went well," Nathan said. "Beverly's on board, we have a plan, 5 days to execute it." "Yes. Now we just have to make sure they believe we're a real couple. That means being seen together in public, acting natural, selling the image." Simone turned to face him. "Tomorrow, you go to work as usual. I'll come with you, meet you for lunch, that sort of thing. Establish the pattern." "What about today? It's Sunday. We should do something couple-like, shouldn't we? In case they're watching the building?" Simone considered. "What do normal couples do on Sunday?" "I have no idea. I haven't been in a relationship in 5 years." Nathan looked almost embarrassed. "Work hasn't left much room for dating." "Same here actually. 3 years for me. Crisis management is a demanding career." She laughed. "We're both terrible at this. Okay, normal couples probably go for brunch or walk in the park or see a movie. Something casual and public. There's a farmer's market downtown, open until 3. We could go walk around, be seen together. Perfect. Give me 20 minutes to change into something more casual. 30 minutes later, they walked through the bustling farmer's market, surrounded by vendors selling fresh produce, flowers, handmade crafts. Simone wore jeans and the green blouse she'd unpacked earlier. Nathan stayed in his jeans and blue shirt. They looked like any other couple enjoying a Sunday afternoon. Nathan carried the reusable shopping bag, which slowly filled with tomatoes, fresh bread, honey from a local beekeeper. Simone picked out flowers, bright yellow sunflowers that made her smile. For your apartment, Nathan said. To make it feel less empty. Our apartment, Simone corrected gently. At least for now. We're selling the couple image, remember? Right. Our apartment. Nathan tested the words and Simone saw him relax slightly. Maybe having someone share his space, even temporarily, wasn't as uncomfortable as he'd thought. They stopped at a booth selling fresh squeezed lemonade. As they waited in line, Nathan's phone buzzed again. He checked it and his expression darkened. DeLuca this time. Your girlfriend is lovely, Nathan. It would be a shame if anything happened to her. Simone's blood ran cold, but she kept her voice steady. They're trying to scare you. Scare us. Don't let them. If they hurt you because of me. Nathan's jaw clenched. They won't. They're not violent criminals, Nathan. They're con artists. Intimidation is their tool, not actual violence. The threat is empty. But even as she said it, Simone felt a prickle of fear. Were they being watched right now? Nathan pulled her close, wrapping his arm around her waist. To anyone watching, it looked like a protective, affectionate gesture. And maybe it was. I won't let anything happen to you, he said quietly. That's a promise. And I won't let them take your company. That's my promise. They stood like that for a moment, the market bustling around them, two people bound together by crisis and growing trust. Then Nathan's phone rang. He answered, putting it on speaker so Simone could hear. Pierce. Richardson's voice, smooth and threatening. Got your time extension. But don't think we're going to disappear until Friday. We'll be watching every move you make. You and your lovely girlfriend. Remember what's at stake. Nathan's arm tightened around Simone's waist. I remember. And I'll make my decision Friday. Until then, leave me alone to consider your offer properly. Just making sure you stay focused. Enjoy your lemonade, by the way. The strawberry one is particularly good here. The call ended. Nathan and Simone exchanged looks. They were definitely being watched right now in this market. They're trying to show us they have eyes everywhere, Simone said calmly, though her heart raced. It's psychological warfare. Don't react. Just keep being normal. They bought their lemonade, strawberry for Nathan and classic for Simone. They continued walking through the market, holding hands now, playing their roles. But the threat hung over them like a dark cloud. Back at the penthouse, they unpacked their purchases in silence. The sunflowers went in a vase on the kitchen counter, bringing actual life and color to the sterile space. Nathan put away the groceries while Simone set her lemonade on the counter and finally let out the breath she'd been holding. That was unsettling, she admitted. They know where we are at all times. They're tracking us somehow. Nathan pulled out his phone, examining it. Could be my phone. Could be a physical tracker. Could be someone following us. Beverly can sweep for trackers. And we can use their surveillance against them. Let them watch us being a happy couple. Let them see you unbothered by their threats. Every moment they watch you being calm and in control chips away at their leverage. Nathan set down his phone and moved closer to Simone. You're afraid though. I can see it. Yes, I'm afraid. But that doesn't mean we stop. That doesn't mean we give up or give in. She met his eyes. Fear and courage aren't opposites, Nathan. Courage is doing what's right even when you're scared. And I'm still all in on this. Still with you. Why? The question came out raw. Why are you really doing this? The truth, Simone. Beyond what you told me about your past, beyond kindness and hope and all of that. Why are you putting yourself at risk for someone you just met? Simone considered her answer carefully, searching for the deepest truth. Because I believe people are worth fighting for. Because I believe goodness wins when good people stand together. Because I looked at you last night and saw someone who needed exactly what I could give, help. And maybe, if I'm being completely honest, because I've been alone for a long time too, and all of this, makes me feel alive and purposeful in a way I'd forgotten was possible. Nathan's expression shifted, softened. Thank you for that honesty. You asked for truth. I gave it. Simone smiled. Now let's make dinner together. Something normal and domestic. And tomorrow we start really fighting back. They cooked pasta with fresh tomatoes and basil from the market. They ate together at Nathan's dining table, which he admitted he'd never actually used before tonight. They talked about their lives, their childhoods, their dreams. They laughed, which felt like rebellion given the circumstances. And when they finally said goodnight and retreated to their separate bedrooms, Simone lay in the guest bed, staring at the ceiling, and realized something important. She wasn't just pretending to care about Nathan Pierce anymore. She genuinely did. And that complicated everything in the best possible way. Monday morning arrived with crisp autumn air and the familiar rush of the workday. Nathan stood in front of his bathroom mirror, knotting his tie, the blue silk one his mother had given him years ago. It felt right today, like armor mixed with memory. Simone appeared in his doorway, dressed professionally in gray slacks and a deep red blouse. Her hair was pulled back and she wore minimal makeup, but she looked stunning. Nathan's breath caught slightly. "Ready?" she asked, holding 2 travel mugs of coffee. "We should arrive together. Establish that I'm part of your routine now." "Right. Part of my routine." Nathan accepted the coffee, their fingers brushing. The contact sent an unexpected jolt through him. "Simone, before we go, I want to say something." "Okay. This week is going to be intense. Stressful. Possibly dangerous. If at any point you want out, if this becomes too much, I'll understand. No judgment, no guilt. You can walk away." Simone set down her coffee and moved closer. "Nathan Pierce, listen to me very carefully. I'm not walking away. Not today, not this week, not until those men are behind bars or running scared. We're partners in this. Partners don't abandon each other when things get hard. Got it?" Her fierce loyalty touched something deep in Nathan's chest, a place that had been cold and guarded for years. "Got it? Good. Now let's go to work and show everyone how disgustingly happy you are with your new girlfriend." The drive to Pierce Technologies headquarters took 20 minutes through downtown traffic. The building was a sleek glass structure, 30 floors of innovation and security. Nathan's company occupied floors 15 through 30, with his office at the very top. They parked in Nathan's private spot, and immediately Simone took his hand as they walked toward the entrance. To anyone watching, including potential surveillance by the blackmailers, they looked completely natural together. The lobby security guard, Marcus. No, wait, Nathan remembered Simone's restrictions. The security guard's name was Tony Rodriguez. He smiled when he saw them. "Morning, Mr. Pierce. And good morning to you too, miss. Tony, this is Simone Taylor, my girlfriend. She'll be visiting frequently. Please add her to my permanent access list." Tony's eyebrows rose slightly, but he maintained his professional demeanor. "Of course, sir. Welcome, Miss Taylor. I'll need to see your ID for the system." Simone provided her driver's license, chatting easily with Tony while he entered her information. Nathan watched, impressed by how naturally she slipped into this role. No awkwardness, no pretense, just genuine warmth. They rode the elevator to the 30th floor, Nathan's executive suite. His assistant, Beverly, looked up from her desk as they approached, a knowing smile on her face. "Good morning, boss." "Morning, Simone. I've cleared your schedule until lunch, Nathan. Told everyone you have important security meetings." "Thank you, Beverly." In Nathan's office, a huge space with floor-to-ceiling windows and minimalist furniture, they settled in. Beverly had already set up a secure workstation for their investigation, 3 monitors displaying various data streams. "I worked through the night," Beverly announced, pulling up files on the screens. "Found some very interesting things about our 3 friends." "Tell us," Simone said, moving closer to examine the displays. "Richardson, real first name Thomas, is the ringleader. He's been involved in at least 4 similar schemes over the past decade. Different names, different companies, but always the same pattern. Infiltrate as an investor, manufacture evidence, extort majority control, then disappear with the profits. 2 of his previous victims went bankrupt. 1 committed suicide." Nathan's stomach turned. "And he's still operating freely? He's smart. Changes identities, covers his tracks, never uses the same methods twice. The FBI has a file on him, but no concrete evidence for prosecution. Until now, hopefully." Beverly pulled up another screen. "DeLuca and Torres are his usual partners. DeLuca handles the technical side, creating the forgeries. Torres manages surveillance and intimidation." "So we're dealing with professionals," Simone said. "That's actually good news." Nathan looked at her incredulously. "How is that good news? Professionals have patterns. Patterns can be predicted and interrupted. Plus, if they've done this before, there are probably other victims we can find." More evidence, more witnesses. This isn't just your fight, Nathan. This is a pattern of criminal behavior that needs to be stopped. Beverly nodded. Exactly what I thought. I've already started reaching out, very carefully, to the other companies Richardson targeted. Seeing if anyone will talk. Won't that tip him off that we're investigating? Nathan asked. Not if we're smart about it. I'm using anonymous channels, claiming to be a journalist researching corporate fraud. It's plausible and it protects everyone involved. Beverly pulled up another file. Now, about these forged documents. I analyzed them thoroughly. They were created using a specific combination of software, high-end digital editing tools mixed with some custom code. The digital signatures are sophisticated, but there's a flaw. What kind of flaw? Simone leaned in, interested. Every digital creation leaves metadata, information about when and where it was made. Whoever created these tried to scrub the metadata, but they missed something. There's a timestamp buried in the code, and it traces back to a specific IP address in Chicago. Chicago. Nathan processed this. Can we track it further? Already on it. The IP belongs to a server farm that rents space anonymously, but there are ways to get information. I've got a contact who owes me a favor, someone who works in digital forensics for law enforcement. I'm being careful, but we should have more information in a day or two. That's incredible work, Beverly. Simone pulled out her tablet. I've been researching crisis communication strategies. If they do release the fake evidence before we're ready, we need to be prepared with an immediate response. I've drafted several versions depending on what they release and when. She showed Nathan the drafts. They were good, strong statements that acknowledged the accusations while firmly denying them, promising cooperation with investigations, emphasizing Nathan's track record and reputation. It was proactive defense, and Nathan felt grateful for her foresight. We should also prepare your board of directors, Simone continued. Brief them confidentially about the situation before anything goes public. Having your board's support will be crucial if this explodes. I'll arrange a meeting, Nathan agreed. Though I hate bringing more people into this. You need allies, Nathan. The more people who know the truth and stand with you, the harder it is for the blackmailers to control the narrative. They worked through the morning building their case piece by piece. Beverly traced digital footprints. Simone refined communication strategies. Nathan reviewed company finances, looking for any legitimate vulnerabilities the blackmailers might exploit. At noon, Simone insisted they go to lunch together, maintaining appearances. They walked to a small cafe 2 blocks from the office, a place Nathan had never visited despite passing it daily for years. You really don't take breaks, do you? Simone observed as they ordered sandwiches. Not usually, no. Work is everything. Was everything, she corrected. Now you have this, us, a fake relationship that requires actual lunch dates. They sat by the window, and Nathan found himself relaxing in a way he never did during work hours. Simone had a gift for making things feel normal even when nothing about their situation was normal. Tell me about your company, Simone said. Not the business stuff but why you started it. What drives you? Nathan considered the question, surprised by how much he wanted to share. My parents were both in tech, met at MIT, built a small software company together. Nothing huge but successful enough. They taught me that technology should protect people, not exploit them. When they died in a car accident 4 years ago, I inherited their company and their philosophy. I expanded it, turned it into Pierce Technologies, focusing on cybersecurity because I believe everyone deserves to feel safe in the digital world. They'd be proud of you. Would they? I built something big, yes, but I also built a life that's completely empty except for work. I don't think that's what they wanted for me. Simone reached across the table, covering his hand with hers. The gesture felt natural now, comfortable. You're still young, Nathan. 34. 35. You. 32. And yes, we're both young. We have time to build full lives, not just successful careers. This situation, as horrible as it is, might be exactly what you needed. A reminder that you can't do everything alone, that people matter as much as profits. Nathan turned his hand over, lacing his fingers with hers. You're right. You're absolutely right. They finished lunch and walked back to the office, still holding hands. Nathan noticed several of his employees doing double takes, clearly surprised to see their CEO with a woman looking happy. Good. Let word spread. Let everyone know Nathan Pierce wasn't alone anymore. Back in his office, Beverly had new information. Got a hit on one of the previous victims. A woman named Isabel Grant who ran a biotech firm in Seattle. Richardson's crew took her for 40% of her company 5 years ago. She's willing to talk. Set up a video call, Simone said immediately. If we can document her experience, it strengthens our case massively. An hour later, they were on a secure video call with Isabel Grant, a woman in her 50s with gray-streaked hair and weary eyes. She sat in what looked like a home office, books lining the walls behind her. "Thank you for speaking with us," Nathan began. "I know this must be difficult. Difficult as watching everything you built get stolen by criminals," Isabel said bluntly. "But if my story can help you avoid the same fate, then it's worth it. What do you want to know?" Nathan, Simone, and Beverly spent 30 minutes hearing Isabel's account. It matched Nathan's situation almost exactly. The initial investment approach, the manufactured evidence, the escalating threats, the impossible deadline. But Isabel had given in, signed over 40% of her company to make it stop. "It didn't stop though," she said, her voice bitter. "Once they had control, they bled the company dry, made terrible decisions, drove away our best people. Within 2 years we were bankrupt. I lost everything except my home. Richardson and his crew disappeared with millions while I was left with nothing but debt and a destroyed reputation." "I'm so sorry," Simone said softly. "That's not justice." "No, it's not. But maybe you can get justice where I couldn't. Fight them, Mr. Pierce. Don't give them an inch. They're counting on you being too scared or too proud to ask for help. Prove them wrong." After the call ended, Nathan sat back, processing everything. She's right. They count on isolation. On victims being too ashamed or frightened to reach out. "Which is why you're going to win," Beverly said. "Because you're not isolated. You've got us." Simone squeezed Nathan's hand. "And we're going to document everything Isabel told us. Her testimony, combined with the evidence we're gathering, builds a pattern. Richardson isn't just blackmailing you, he's a serial criminal who's destroyed multiple companies and lives." Nathan's phone rang. He checked the screen and his jaw tightened. "Torres." "Answer it," Simone said. "On speaker. Let's hear what they have to say." Nathan answered. "Pierce. Just checking in." Torres's voice was oily, smooth. "Friday's coming fast. You getting your affairs in order?" "I'm reviewing everything carefully with my lawyers and with Simone. We'll be ready to discuss terms Friday." "Simone. Your girlfriend. She's very invested in your situation, isn't she? Sitting right there in your office. How nice." Nathan's blood ran cold. They were watching right now. Somehow they had eyes on his office. Simone grabbed a notepad and wrote quickly, "Sweep for cameras." "Yes, she's invested," Nathan said calmly. "That's what partners do. Support each other. Just making sure you remember what's at stake. Your company. Your reputation. Your girlfriend's safety. All of it depends on making the right choice Friday." The call ended. Beverly immediately began a sweep of the office, pulling out equipment to detect surveillance devices. Nathan and Simone stepped out onto the private balcony attached to his office, where they could talk without being overheard. "They have cameras in there," Nathan said, gripping the railing. "They're watching us work against them. Then we work somewhere else. Your penthouse, Beverly's home, coffee shops, anywhere but here. We adapt." Simone's calm steadied him. "And we use this. If they're watching us in your office, we feed them false information. Make them think we're considering their offer when really we're building the case to destroy them." Nathan looked at her, this woman who'd come into his life 3 days ago and changed everything. "You're brilliant." "I'm practical. There's a difference." But she smiled, pleased by the compliment. Beverly appeared at the balcony door. "Found it? Tiny camera hidden in the air vent, high-end equipment. They've probably been watching and listening since they first approached you weeks ago. Can we use it against them?" Simone asked. "Absolutely. We leave it in place but we feed them misinformation. Make them think they're getting intelligence when really we're controlling what they see." Beverly grinned. "I love this spy stuff. Way more interesting than regular security work." They spent the rest of the afternoon planning their counterintelligence strategy, working from a secure conference room that Beverly swept for devices. By 6 o'clock, they had a solid plan. Feed false information through the office camera, gather evidence from multiple sources, prepare for both a legal case and a public relations response. Nathan drove Simone home to the penthouse, both of them quiet, processing the day's revelations. In the elevator up to his floor, Simone suddenly laughed. "What's funny?" Nathan asked. "This. All of this. 3 days ago I went to a wedding. Now I'm living with a billionaire, fighting corporate blackmail, and playing spy games with hidden cameras. My life has gotten very strange very quickly. Nathan laughed too, the sound surprising him. Mine too. 3 days ago I was alone and terrified. Now I have you and Beverly and an actual plan. Strange is better than hopeless. In the penthouse they ordered takeout, too tired to cook. They ate Thai food on the couch, watching a mindless comedy on TV, just being normal for a couple of hours. Nathan found himself studying Simone's profile as she laughed at the movie, the way her eyes crinkled, the genuine joy in her expression. What? She asked, catching him staring. Nothing. Just, thank you. For all of this. For being here. Stop thanking me, she said, but her tone was warm. We're partners, remember? Partners don't need constant gratitude. They just show up and do the work. Still. Thank you. Simone set down her food and turned to face him fully. Nathan, I need to tell you something and I need you to really hear it. This isn't a burden for me. Helping you isn't a sacrifice. I'm doing this because I want to, because it's the right thing to do, and because honestly I haven't felt this alive and purposeful in years. So stop treating my kindness like a debt you owe. Just accept it as what it is, one human being choosing to stand with another. Her words hit Nathan with unexpected force. He'd spent so long believing he had to earn everything, including care and support. The idea that Simone was helping him simply because she wanted to, with no strings attached, no payment required, no obligation to repay, felt revolutionary. Okay, he said quietly. I'll try to just accept it. Accept you. Good. She smiled and picked up her food again. Now eat your pad thai and watch the movie. Tomorrow we start feeding false information to the camera and gathering more evidence. But tonight we're just two people having dinner and watching TV. Just two people, Nathan repeated. But as they settled back into watching the movie, sitting close together on the couch, Nathan knew it was more than that. They were becoming something real, something that mattered. And whatever happened Friday with the blackmailers, Nathan knew one thing for certain. Meeting Simone Taylor was the best thing that had ever happened to him. Even if it started with the worst circumstances imaginable. Wednesday evening arrived with the colors of fall painting the sky orange and pink. Nathan stood in his bedroom, holding two ties and frowning at his reflection. The charity gala tonight was important, both for maintaining appearances and for their plan. The blue one, Simone said from his doorway. She wore a floor-length emerald green gown that took Nathan's breath away. Her hair fell in soft curls around her shoulders, and she'd done her makeup more dramatically than usual. She looked like someone who belonged on a red carpet, not in his life. You look stunning, he managed. Thank you. You'll look pretty good too once you pick a tie. Blue matches your eyes. Nathan selected the blue tie, trying to ignore how his hands trembled slightly as he knotted it. This gala mattered. It was their first major public appearance together, their chance to cement the relationship in the eyes of everyone who mattered in Nathan's business circles. It was also, according to Beverly's intelligence, an event that Richardson and his crew would be watching carefully. Nervous? Simone asked, moving into the room. A little. These galas, they're full of people who know me, who know I never bring dates to anything. There will be questions. Then we have good answers. We met through mutual friends a few months ago, kept things private while we figured out if we were serious, and now we're ready to be public about it. Simple, consistent, believable. She straightened his tie, her fingers gentle against his collar. And Nathan, for tonight, I need you to do something that might be difficult. What's that? Stop thinking of this as an act. Tonight, when we walk in there together, when we dance and talk and laugh, I want you to just be yourself with me. Not the CEO, not the man being blackmailed, just Nathan. Can you do that? Nathan looked down at her, so close he could smell her perfume, something light and floral. I think I'd like that. Good. Then tonight is a real date. Our first one, actually. The realization settled over Nathan. She was right. They'd been living together for 4 days, working together, fighting together, but they hadn't actually been on a proper date. This gala would be their first. I'm a terrible date, Nathan admitted. I haven't been on one in years. I'll probably mess it up. You won't. Just follow my lead and relax. Simone smiled and Nathan felt some of his tension ease. Now, let's go show the world how happy we are. The gala was held at the Grand Metropolitan Hotel, a historic building downtown with soaring ceilings and crystal chandeliers. Nathan's driver dropped them at the entrance, and immediately photographers began snapping pictures. It was a high-profile charity event, supporting children's hospitals, and local media always covered it. Nathan helped Simone out of the car and she took his arm naturally. They walked the red carpet together, stopping for photos. Nathan was used to this, having attended countless similar events, but having Simone beside him changed everything. She smiled at the cameras with easy confidence, posed naturally, and somehow made Nathan feel less like he was on display and more like they were sharing an experience. Inside, the ballroom glittered with hundreds of guests in formal wear. Music played from a live orchestra. Waiters circulated with champagne and appetizers. Nathan recognized dozens of faces, business associates, friends, rivals, all mingling in the soft golden light. Nathan Pierce. A voice called out, and Nathan turned to see George Hamilton approaching, a fellow tech CEO and occasional golf partner. Is this the reason you've been declining our golf invitations? Can't say I blame you. George, this is Simone Taylor. Simone, George Hamilton, he runs Hamilton Digital. They shook hands, exchanging pleasantries. George's wife Susan joined them, and soon they were engaged in easy conversation. Simone fit in perfectly, asking intelligent questions about the charity, sharing her own work in crisis management, laughing at George's terrible jokes. She's wonderful, Susan whispered to Nathan when George pulled Simone aside to introduce her to someone else. Where have you been hiding her? We've been keeping things quiet, Nathan said, the practice lies smooth now. Just wanted to make sure we were serious before going public. Well, I'm glad you're serious. You look happy, Nathan. Truly happy. I haven't seen that in you in years. Her observation struck him. Did he look happy? He'd been so focused on the threat, on the plan, on surviving the next few days, that he hadn't considered his own emotions. But looking across the room at Simone, watching her charm a group of older philanthropists with her warmth and intelligence, Nathan realized Susan was right. He was happy. Despite everything, despite the danger and stress and fear, having Simone in his life made him happy. They worked the room for an hour, Nathan introducing Simone to what felt like everyone he'd ever met in business. She remembered names, made genuine connections, and subtly supported Nathan with small touches, her hand on his arm, her presence steady beside him. You're very good at this, Nathan murmured as they finally found a quiet corner near the bar. At what? Schmoozing with rich people? Simone grinned. Crisis management taught me how to read rooms and connect with people. It's all about making others feel heard and valued. Same skills, different context. It's more than that. You're genuinely interested in people. They can tell. Because I am interested. Everyone has a story, Nathan. Everyone matters. These people with their wealth and power, they're still just humans trying to make their way through life. I like learning about them. A waiter passed with champagne. Nathan took 2 glasses, handing one to Simone. They toasted silently, and Nathan found himself wanting to say something meaningful, something that captured what her presence meant to him, but the words stuck in his throat. Nathan Pierce. A cold voice cut through his thoughts. Nathan turned to see Richardson standing 3 feet away, dressed in an expensive tuxedo, a champagne flute in his hand and a smile on his face that didn't reach his eyes. What a pleasant surprise. I didn't realize you'd be here tonight. Nathan's stomach dropped, but he kept his expression neutral. Richardson. Yes, Simone and I decided to support the Children's Hospital. Important cause. Richardson's gaze shifted to Simone, assessing, calculating. Miss Taylor. You look lovely. Though I'm surprised to see you're still here. Most people would have run by now from a situation as complicated as Mr. Pierce's. Complicated situations are my specialty, Simone replied smoothly, her smile never wavering. And I don't run. Not my style. Admirable. Or foolish. Hard to tell which. Richardson sipped his champagne. Mr. Pierce, Friday's approaching quickly. 48 hours until our meeting. I trust you'll have everything in order? Everything will be handled appropriately, Nathan said, deliberately vague. Good. Very good. Richardson's smile widened, showing too many teeth. Enjoy your evening. Both of you. These galas are so lovely, aren't they? Would be terrible if anything ruined the atmosphere. He walked away, melting back into the crowd. Nathan's hand tightened around his champagne glass, but Simone's steady presence kept him from reacting. He's rattled, she said quietly. Did you notice? He came over here to intimidate us, but his hand was shaking. He's losing control of the situation and he knows it. His hand was shaking? Very slightly, but yes. He's scared we're not going to give in. Scared his perfect plan is falling apart. Simone set down her champagne. Dance with me. Let him watch us being completely unbothered by his threats. Nathan led her to the dance floor, where several couples already swayed to the orchestra's slow melody. He placed one hand on Simone's waist, took her other hand in his and began moving with the music. I'm not a good dancer, he admitted. Never learned properly. Just follow the rhythm and hold on to me. That's all dancing really is, holding on to someone while the world moves around you. They moved together, finding a rhythm that worked for them. Nathan pulled Simone closer, and she rested her head against his shoulder. Around them, other couples danced, conversations continued, the gala proceeded normally. But in that moment, holding Simone, feeling her warmth and strength, Nathan forgot about everything else. This feels real, he said quietly, the words escaping before he could stop them. Simone lifted her head to look at him. What feels real? This. I know we're pretending for everyone watching, but right now, dancing with you, it doesn't feel like pretend. Her expression softened, and Nathan saw something vulnerable flash in her eyes. No. It doesn't feel like pretend. The music swelled around them, and Nathan realized they'd stopped moving, standing still in the middle of the dance floor, just looking at each other. Everything he wanted to say seemed too big, too complicated, too honest for this moment. Simone, I know, she interrupted gently. I know, Nathan. Me too. They didn't need to say more. Understanding passed between them, an acknowledgement that something real was growing beneath the pretense, something neither of them had planned for or expected. The music ended. Applause rippled through the ballroom as the orchestra took a break. Nathan and Simone separated reluctantly, returning to the edge of the dance floor. Nathan's phone buzzed. A text from Beverly, got more intel. Call me when you can step away. Work? Simone asked, seeing his expression. Beverly has information. I should call her. Go. I'll keep working the room, maintaining appearances. Take your time. Nathan slipped out to a quiet hallway outside the ballroom and called Beverly. What have you got? He asked without preamble. Big news. That IP address in Chicago? It traces back to a tech company called Digital Phantom Solutions. They specialize in creating fake documents for corporate espionage. Very underground, very illegal, but very real. I've got screenshots, financial trails, everything connecting them to Richardson's crew. That's huge. Gets better. 2 of Richardson's previous victims are willing to testify. I've been coordinating with them, and they're prepared to give formal statements to the FBI. Between their testimony, the digital evidence, and what Isabel told us, we've got enough to build a serious criminal case. Nathan felt hope surge through him. So we can take this to the authorities now? We could. But I think we should wait until Friday. Let them think they're winning right up until the moment we pull the rug out. Plus, we still don't have Richardson on recording explicitly stating the blackmail terms. If we can get that Friday, it seals the case completely. You're right. Okay. Keep building the file. We'll finish this Friday. How's the gala? Is Simone wearing that green dress? I helped her pick it out. Nathan smiled. She looks incredible. You did good, Beverly. I know. And Nathan? The way you two look at each other? That's not acting anymore. Just so you know. I know, Nathan admitted. I'm figuring that out. He hung up and returned to the ballroom, scanning the crowd for Simone. He found her surrounded by a group of people, laughing at something someone said, the emerald dress catching the light. She looked up and caught his eye across the room, and her smile brightened. Nathan made his way back to her, and she excused herself from the group to meet him halfway. Good news? She asked. Very good news. Beverly's making real progress. We're close, Simone. Really close to ending this. That's wonderful. She took his hand. Then tonight, let's just celebrate that. No more worrying about Richardson or deadlines or threats. Just enjoy this evening. They did exactly that. They ate dinner at a table with other guests, engaging in lively conversation about everything except work. They danced again multiple times, getting more comfortable with each song. They laughed, genuinely laughed, until Nathan's cheeks hurt. At one point, standing on the ballroom balcony looking out at the city lights, Simone leaned against the railing and sighed contentedly. This is nice. Just being people instead of crisis managers and targets. Nathan stood beside her. I can't remember the last time I felt this relaxed at one of these events. Usually, I'm counting the minutes until I can leave. And now I'm hoping it lasts a little longer. Simone turned to face him, her back against the railing. The city lights created a backdrop of stars behind her. Nathan, can I ask you something personal? Of course. When this is over, when the blackmailers are dealt with and you're safe, what happens to us? The question hung between them, heavy with implications. Nathan had been avoiding thinking about it, too focused on survival to consider what came after. I don't know, he said honestly. I haven't let myself think that far ahead. What do you want to happen? I want this to be real, Simone said softly. Not the pretense, not the arrangement to fool the bad guys, but actually real. You and me trying to build something genuine. But only if that's what you want too. I won't be someone's obligation or gratitude project. Nathan moved closer, close enough to see the hope and vulnerability in her eyes. You're not an obligation, Simone. You're the best thing that's happened to me in years. Maybe ever. And yes, I want this to be real. I want us to be real. Then we have something to look forward to, Simone smiled. After Friday. After we win. We start again properly without the crisis hanging over us. It's a date, Nathan agreed. They stayed on the balcony a while longer, talking about nothing important, just enjoying each other's company. When they finally went back inside, the gala was winding down. Guests were saying their goodbyes, collecting coats, calling for cars. Nathan and Simone made their exit, thanking the event organizers and promising generous donations. In the car on the way home, Simone kicked off her heels and leaned against Nathan's shoulder, tired but content. Thank you for tonight, she said. For our first real date. Thank you for making it perfect, Nathan replied, wrapping his arm around her. Back at the penthouse, they lingered in the living room, neither quite ready to say goodnight and retreat to separate bedrooms. Simone stood by the windows looking out at the city below. Tomorrow's Thursday, she said. One day until Friday. One day until we end this. Nathan joined her at the window. Are you scared? A little. But mostly I'm ready. Ready to see justice done, ready to see you free of this threat. She turned to face him. Ready to see what we become when we're not fighting for survival. Nathan reached up, tucking a curl behind her ear, letting his hand linger against her cheek. Me too. They stood like that for a long moment, the city glittering below them, the future uncertain but suddenly full of possibility. Then Simone rose on her toes and kissed his cheek, gentle and brief. Good night, Nathan. Good night, Simone. She walked to her bedroom and Nathan stayed by the window, touching the spot on his cheek where her lips had been. One more day. One more day of this horrible situation, and then they could begin building something real. He'd never looked forward to a Friday more in his life. Thursday morning broke gray and drizzly, rain pattering against the penthouse windows. Nathan woke early as he always did, but instead of immediately checking emails or reviewing reports, he lay in bed thinking about Simone. Last night's kiss on the cheek shouldn't have meant so much. It was innocent, friendly, nothing compared to the acting they'd done in public. But it felt more intimate than any of the hand-holding or staged affection. It felt like a promise. His phone buzzed. Beverly, meeting at your place in 1 hour. Final preparations for tomorrow. Nathan got up, showered, and dressed in comfortable jeans and a green button-down. In the kitchen he found Simone already awake, wearing leggings and an oversized maroon sweater, her hair pulled up in a messy bun. She was making breakfast, bacon sizzling in one pan while she flipped pancakes in another. Morning, she greeted, looking over her shoulder. Hope you're hungry. I stress cook and tomorrow's making me very stressed. It smells amazing. Nathan poured coffee for both of them. Beverly's coming over in an hour for final planning. Good. I've been thinking about tomorrow's meeting all night. We need to be so careful, Nathan. Getting them on record admitting to blackmail is crucial, but if they suspect we're recording, they'll bolt. They ate breakfast together at the small kitchen table, the one Nathan had never used until Simone moved in. Rain streaked the windows, creating a cozy atmosphere that felt at odds with the tension of what was coming. Tell me something about yourself, Nathan said. Something that has nothing to do with crisis management or this situation. I want to know you better. Simone smiled, setting down her fork. Okay. Random fact, I'm terrified of swimming. Can't do it, never learned properly, have an irrational fear of deep water. Really? Why? When I was 7, I nearly drowned in a lake during a family trip. My cousin pulled me out, but the fear stuck. I've tried lessons, tried therapy, but I just can't get past it. She shrugged. We all have our things, right? I'm afraid of heights, Nathan admitted. Not flying weirdly, but being on tall buildings or bridges where I can see down. Makes my palms sweat and my head spin. But you live on the 32nd floor of a penthouse. I know. The windows help. If I'm inside, I'm okay. But balconies? Observation decks? No thank you. They laughed together, sharing this small intimacy of vulnerabilities. Simone reached across the table and took his hand. We're going to be okay tomorrow, she said. All of us. Beverly, you, me. We've planned this carefully, we have evidence, we have allies. Richardson and his crew are going down. I believe you. And Nathan did. For the first time since this nightmare began, he genuinely believed they would win. Beverly arrived exactly on time, carrying her laptop and a box of equipment. "Rain's getting worse," she announced, shaking water from her jacket. "Perfect weather for plotting the downfall of criminals." They set up in Nathan's home office, spreading documents and equipment across the large desk. Beverly pulled up files on her laptop, reviewing everything they'd gathered over the past week. "Here's what we have," she began. "Digital evidence proving the documents are forgeries, including the IP address trail to Digital Phantom Solutions. Testimony from 2 previous victims willing to go on record. Financial records showing Richardson's pattern of corporate theft. Phone recordings of their threats to Nathan, though nothing explicit enough yet. And tomorrow we get the final piece. Richardson on recording, admitting to the blackmail and demanding the company's shares." "How are we recording it?" Simone asked. Beverly pulled out a small device barely larger than a button. "This is a high-end recording device. Nathan will wear it tomorrow hidden under his shirt. It's voice-activated, can record for up to 6 hours, and the quality is crystal clear. Richardson won't know it's there." Nathan took the device, examining it. So small, yet it held the key to his freedom. "And if he searches me? These guys are paranoid." "He won't search you if Simone's there. Having her at the meeting makes you seem less threatening, more compliant. You're bringing your girlfriend for emotional support, not wearing a wire. It's perfect cover." Simone nodded. "I'll insist on coming. Say I want to understand what you're signing, that I need to be there as your partner. They might object, but I can be very persuasive." They spent 2 hours going over every detail of tomorrow's plan. The meeting was scheduled for noon at a private restaurant, neutral ground that Richardson had chosen. Nathan would wear the recording device, Simone would accompany him, and Beverly would wait nearby with the FBI agents they'd been coordinating with. "Once we have Richardson on tape admitting to blackmail and demanding control of your company, we signal Beverly," Simone explained. "The FBI moves in, makes the arrests, and it's over." "What's the signal?" Nathan asked. "I'll text Beverly the word, 'done.' Simple, can't be misinterpreted." "And if something goes wrong?" Nathan's voice betrayed his anxiety. "If they realize what we're doing?" Beverly leaned forward. "Then we abort. We leave the restaurant and we take what evidence we have to the authorities anyway. It's not perfect, but it's enough to start an investigation. They'll be looking over their shoulders for the rest of their lives, and that's something." "But we're not going to abort," Simone said firmly. "We're going to get them on tape, get them arrested, and end this. Trust the plan, Nathan. Trust us." "I do trust you. Both of you. Completely." They broke for lunch, ordering sandwiches from a nearby deli. As they ate, Beverly studied Nathan and Simone with an amused expression. "What?" Nathan asked, catching her look. "Nothing. Just, you two. This whole fake relationship thing has gotten very real, hasn't it?" Simone and Nathan exchanged glances. No point denying it. "Yes," Simone admitted. "It's gotten complicated in the best way." "Good," Beverly said. "Nathan needs someone who challenges him to be more than just work. And Simone, you've got a light in you that he's been missing. You're good for each other." "Thank you, Beverly," Nathan said quietly. "For everything. Not just the technical help but the support. You didn't have to go this far." "Of course I did. You're not just my boss, Nathan. You're my friend. Friends show up for each other." Beverly smiled. "That's what this whole week has been about, right? People showing up." Simone showed up at the wedding. "I showed up when you finally told me what was happening. We're all showing up because that's what good people do. Have you ever had someone show up for you when you needed them most? What would you do to help a friend in danger? Share your story in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to see how Nathan and Simone's showdown goes tomorrow. Will they get Richardson on tape? Will justice finally be served? Stay tuned to find out. The afternoon was spent in final preparations. Nathan practiced wearing the recording device, making sure it was invisible under his shirt. Simone coached him on how to steer the conversation toward explicit admissions of blackmail, giving Richardson enough rope to hang himself. "Ask clarifying questions," she instructed. "Make him spell out exactly what he wants and what he's threatening. We need his words to be crystal clear on the recording. Won't that seem suspicious? Me asking for specifics. Frame it as due diligence. You're a detail-oriented CEO reviewing a major business decision. It's completely in character for you to want everything spelled out." They practiced various scenarios, Beverly playing Richardson while Simone coached Nathan on his responses. By evening, Nathan felt as prepared as he could be. I'm ordering pizza, Beverly announced at 6 o'clock. We've earned it and I'm starving. Over pizza and soda they finally relaxed, talking about things other than blackmail and evidence. Beverly told stories about her early days working with Nathan, the chaos of a startup and the long nights building something from nothing. Simone shared stories from her crisis management work, the strange and sometimes hilarious situations she'd been called in to handle. Once, Simone said, laughing, I was hired to help a tech startup whose CEO had accidentally sent a very personal email to the entire company instead of his girlfriend. We're talking deeply personal, very explicit. I had to craft an apology, manage the HR fallout, and somehow keep him from dying of embarrassment. Nathan and Beverly cracked up. What happened? Beverly asked. We turned it into a teaching moment about digital communication and respecting boundaries. Made it less about the embarrassing content and more about the importance of double-checking recipients before hitting send. The CEO survived, barely, and actually became more human to his employees. Crisis averted. You're a miracle worker, Nathan said, still smiling. I just help people through their worst moments. Sometimes with humor, sometimes with strategy, always with compassion. Beverly left around 9, promising to be in position tomorrow by 11:30. Get some rest, she instructed. Both of you. Tomorrow's going to be intense. After she left, Nathan and Simone cleaned up the pizza boxes and dishes together, moving around the kitchen in comfortable synchronicity. This, Nathan thought, was what partnership looked like. Not grand gestures or dramatic moments, but small acts of working together, supporting each other in daily tasks. Want to watch something mindless? Simone suggested. Take our minds off tomorrow? They settled on the couch with an old comedy movie, something neither of them had to think about. Halfway through, Simone shifted closer, resting her head on Nathan's shoulder. His arm went around her automatically, holding her close. I'm glad you're here, Nathan said quietly. Not just for tomorrow but for all of this. For changing my life. You changed mine too, Simone replied. I'd forgotten what it felt like to really connect with someone, to care about their outcome beyond just professional obligation. You reminded me. Simone, after tomorrow, after this is over, I want. I know. So do I. She lifted her head to look at him. But let's get through tomorrow first. Let's win. Then we can figure out what we are to each other. Nathan nodded, understanding her caution. They needed to finish this to see it through before they could explore what was growing between them. But knowing that she wanted the same things he did, that made all the difference. They finished the movie, but neither of them moved from the couch afterward. Simone's eyes were closing, exhaustion finally catching up with her. Nathan grabbed a throw blanket from the nearby chair and draped it over both of them. Just rest here for a bit, he whispered. No need to move yet. Simone murmured, already half asleep. Nathan held her, watching her breathing slow and deepen, feeling the weight and warmth of her against his chest. Tomorrow would be dangerous and stressful and possibly terrifying. But right now, in this moment, everything was peaceful. He must have dozed off too, because when he woke it was after midnight. Simone still slept in his arms, the movie long over, the screen dark. Nathan carefully shifted, trying not to wake her, but her eyes fluttered open. Sorry, he whispered. Didn't mean to wake you. It's okay. She stretched, then looked up at him with sleepy eyes. We fell asleep. We did. Neither of them moved to get up. The penthouse was quiet except for the rain still falling outside, creating a cocoon of safety around them. Nathan, Simone said softly, her hand finding his, no matter what happens tomorrow, I want you to know something. Meeting you, helping you, becoming part of your life, it's been an honor. You're a good man and you deserve good things. Don't forget that. Same to you, Nathan replied, squeezing her hand. You're extraordinary, Simone. Truly extraordinary. She smiled and settled back against his chest. Let's stay here tonight. Just like this. I feel safe here. Me too, Nathan admitted. Safer than I've felt in weeks. They stayed on the couch, wrapped in the blanket, holding each other as the rain continued its gentle percussion against the windows. Somewhere in the early hours of morning, they both drifted back to sleep, peaceful and protected in each other's arms. And when Friday's dawn arrived, they would face it together, ready to end the nightmare and begin something beautiful. Friday morning arrived with unexpected sunshine, the previous day's rain giving way to crisp autumn clarity. Nathan woke on the couch, Simone still asleep against his chest, their position unchanged from when they dozed off hours earlier. He allowed himself a moment to just observe her, the peaceful expression on her face, the way her hand rested over his heart. In a few hours, they would walk into what could be the most dangerous meeting of his life. But right now she was safe in his arms, and that mattered more than anything. Simone stirred, her eyes opening slowly. When she realized where she was, a soft smile crossed her face. "Good morning," she murmured. "Good morning. How did you sleep?" "Better than I have in weeks. You make a good pillow." Nathan laughed quietly. "Glad to be of service." They got up reluctantly, the weight of the day settling over them. The meeting with Richardson was at noon, 4 hours away. 4 hours to prepare, to steel themselves, to make sure everything was perfect. Beverly arrived at 9, carrying coffee and bagels. "Fuel up," she ordered. "You'll need your energy." They ate while Beverly ran through the plan one more time, making sure every detail was clear. At 10:30, Nathan put on the recording device, Beverly carefully attaching it under his shirt, testing the sound quality, adjusting the positioning. "Perfect," she declared. "You can't see it at all, and the audio is crystal clear. Just keep the conversation going, get him to spell everything out, and we'll have everything we need." Nathan wore gray slacks and a blue dress shirt, professional but not too formal. Simone chose a deep red blouse and black slacks, looking both elegant and serious. They would present as a united front, a couple facing a difficult business decision together. At 11 they reviewed the plan a final time. "We arrive at the restaurant at noon," Simone recited. "We're seated at the private dining room Richardson reserved. He'll have DeLuca and Torres with him, maybe others. We listen to their demands, ask clarifying questions, get everything on record. When they've said enough to incriminate themselves, I text Beverly the word, 'done,' and the FBI moves in." "And if they search me?" Nathan asked again, the question he couldn't stop repeating. "They won't," Beverly assured him. "You've been compliant all week. They think they've won. People get sloppy when they think they've won." At 11:30, Nathan and Simone got into Nathan's car. Beverly would follow in her own vehicle, staying close but out of sight. The FBI agents were already in position near the restaurant, ready to move on Beverly's signal. The drive took 20 minutes through light midday traffic. Nathan's hands gripped the steering wheel too tightly, and Simone reached over to cover one hand with hers. "Breathe," she said gently. "We've got this. You've got this." "I'm terrified," Nathan admitted. "I know. But you're doing it anyway. That's what courage looks like." They parked 2 blocks from the restaurant, a small upscale Italian place called Bella Vista. Nathan and Simone walked hand in hand, looking for all the world like a couple out for lunch. Nathan's heart hammered against his ribs, but he kept his expression neutral. Inside, the hostess greeted them. "Mr. Pierce? Your party is already seated in the private dining room. Follow me, please." She led them through the main dining area, past tables of normal people having normal lunches, oblivious to the drama about to unfold. At the back of the restaurant, she opened a door to a private room, walled off from the main space. Richardson sat at the head of a long table, DeLuca and Torres flanking him. All 3 men wore suits, their expressions confident, almost smug. A 4th man Nathan didn't recognize sat to Richardson's left, older, with gray hair and cold eyes. "Mr. Pierce," Richardson stood, gesturing to chairs across from him. "And Miss Taylor. How nice of you to join us. Please sit." Nathan and Simone took their seats. Under the table, Simone's hand found Nathan's knee, a grounding touch that steadied him. "I'm surprised you brought your girlfriend," Richardson continued, his smile not reaching his eyes. "This is business after all." "Simone's invested in my life and my company," Nathan replied, proud of how steady his voice sounded. "I want her here for this. She has a right to know what we're discussing." Richardson's gaze shifted to Simone, assessing. "Very well. Let's get to it then. You've had your time to consider our offer. What's your decision?" "Before we discuss decisions," Nathan said, channeling Simone's coaching, "I need absolute clarity on what we're discussing. Walk me through it again. All of it." DeLuca leaned forward. "We've been over this." "Humor me," Nathan said. "This is a major decision. I need to understand every detail." Richardson exchanged glances with his associates, then shrugged. "Fine. We'll review it for your girlfriend's benefit. Miss Taylor, your boyfriend here has been involved in serious financial crimes. Embezzlement, fraud, tax evasion. We have documented evidence of all of it. May I see this evidence?" Simone asked sweetly. "In time. The point is, we have the means to destroy Mr. Pierce's reputation and his company with a single release of information to the media and authorities. His life as he knows it will end. Unless," Simone prompted. Unless he signs over 60% controlling interest in Pierce Technologies to us. Once we have control, the evidence disappears. Mr. Pierce keeps his freedom, his reputation, and 40% of his company. Everyone wins. Nathan forced himself to breathe normally. Let me make sure I understand. You're saying that if I don't give you majority control of my company, you'll release this evidence that proves I've committed crimes. Exactly. But I haven't committed any crimes. Your evidence is manufactured. Fake. Richardson's smile turned cold. Can you prove that? By the time you prove it, if you ever do, your company will be destroyed. Your employees will be out of work. Your reputation will be garbage. Is that really the hill you want to die on? The fourth man, the one Nathan didn't recognize, spoke for the first time. His voice was rough, gravelly. This is business, Mr. Pierce. Nothing personal. We identified an opportunity and we're capitalizing on it. Smart businessmen know when to cut their losses and make deals. And who are you? Nathan asked. Call me Miller. I'm an associate of Mr. Richardson's, here to ensure everything goes smoothly. Nathan felt Simone's hand tighten on his knee. Something about Miller set off alarm bells. He wasn't like Richardson and the others. He seemed harder, more dangerous. So let me be completely clear, Nathan said, steering back to getting incriminating statements. You want me to sign over 60% of Pierce Technologies today, right now, in exchange for you not releasing fake evidence that would destroy my company even though I could eventually prove it's fake? That's a crude way of putting it, Torres said, but essentially yes. And if I refuse? Then by tonight, every news outlet in the country will have copies of the evidence. The SEC will start an investigation. Your board will demand your resignation. Your life will implode. Richardson leaned forward. But you're not going to refuse, are you, Mr. Pierce? Because you're smart enough to see that you have no choice. Nathan felt the recording device warm against his chest, capturing every word. He needed just a bit more explicit confirmation of the threats. This is blackmail, he said flatly. You're blackmailing me into signing over my company. Richardson's smile faltered slightly. Call it what you want. Call it a business arrangement. Call it adaptation to circumstances. The labels don't matter. What matters is what you're going to do in the next 5 minutes. Simone spoke up. What guarantee does Nathan have that you'll actually destroy the evidence once he signs? How does he know you won't just demand more later? You don't, Richardson said simply. You trust that we're businessmen who keep our word. Once we have control of Pierce Technologies, we have no reason to release the evidence. It becomes worthless to us. Unless you want to squeeze out the remaining 40% later, Simone countered. This seems like a pattern. Take majority control, then systematically force out the original owner entirely. Richardson's eyes narrowed. You've done your homework, Miss Taylor? Impressive. But irrelevant. Mr. Pierce, we're running out of time. Do we have a deal or not? Nathan looked at the papers Richardson slid across the table, transfer documents that would sign away everything he'd built. His parents' legacy. 20,000 jobs. His entire life's work. I need a moment to discuss this with Simone privately, Nathan said. No, Miller cut in, his rough voice hard. No private discussions. You decide now here in front of us. Sign or don't sign. Those are your options. Nathan felt sweat forming on his forehead. Under the table, Simone squeezed his hand twice, their signal that she was about to make a move. Gentlemen, Simone said, standing gracefully. I understand you want an answer, but you're asking Nathan to sign away his life's work. Surely you can give us 5 minutes to discuss it together, just the two of us? We'll stay in this room, you can wait right outside the door. 5 minutes. Sit down, Miss Taylor, Richardson said, his voice dropping the polite pretense. There will be no private discussions. In fact, I think it's time we address something. Mr. Pierce, you've been awfully eager to get us talking today. Asking for clarification, wanting details spelled out. Why is that? Nathan's blood ran cold. They suspected something. I'm being thorough, Nathan said. That's how I do business. Or, DeLuca said, pulling out a small electronic device, you're recording this conversation. He activated the device and it began beeping. A bug detector. Nathan's stomach dropped as DeLuca walked around the table, the beeping growing louder as he approached Nathan. Stand up, DeLuca ordered. Nathan stood, his mind racing. Simone stood too, her face calm but her eyes alert. They'd planned for this possibility, but hoping it wouldn't happen and facing it were two different things. DeLuca ran the detector over Nathan's torso, and it shrieked when it passed over his chest. Well, what do we have here? He reached forward to pull open Nathan's shirt, but Simone stepped between them. Don't touch him, she said firmly. Move aside, Miss Taylor, or I'll move you. Try it, Simone said, her voice sharp as a blade. Assault is a crime, gentlemen. And I will press charges. Miller stood, and suddenly the room felt much more dangerous. This meeting is over. Mr. Pierce, you just made a very big mistake. No, Nathan said, his voice stronger than he felt. You made the mistake. The mistake of thinking I'd let you steal my company. The mistake of thinking I was alone. He pulled out his phone and texted Beverly, "Done." Richardson's face turned red with rage. You think you're clever? You think recording us means anything? We'll disappear before you can do anything with it, and we'll release the evidence anyway. You just destroyed yourself to spite us. I don't think so, Simone said calmly. She pulled out her own phone, showing them a video call. On the screen was Beverly, and beside her were two FBI agents. Meet Special Agents Morrison and Chin. They've been listening to this entire conversation. And gentlemen, you're all under arrest. The door burst open. 4 FBI agents flooded into the private dining room, weapons drawn, voices commanding. FBI. Hands where we can see them. Nobody move. Richardson, DeLuca, Torres, and Miller all froze. The shock on their faces would have been comical if Nathan's heart wasn't racing so fast he felt dizzy. Thomas Richardson, Vincent DeLuca, Carlos Torres, and Robert Miller, you're under arrest for extortion, blackmail, conspiracy to commit fraud, and corporate terrorism, Agent Morrison announced, stepping forward with handcuffs. You have the right to remain silent. The agents cuffed each man efficiently while reading them their rights. Richardson's smug confidence had evaporated entirely, replaced by disbelief and anger. This isn't over, Pierce, Richardson snarled as an agent led him toward the door. We have connections. We have lawyers. You have no idea what you've just started. Actually, Beverly said, entering the dining room with her laptop, it's completely over. We have digital evidence of all your previous crimes, testimony from your other victims, financial records of your fraud operation, and now this recording of you explicitly threatening and blackmailing Mr. Pierce. You're done. Torres tried to make a break for it, shoving past one agent and running for the back exit of the restaurant. But more FBI agents waited there, tackling him before he made it 5 steps. They dragged him back in handcuffs, his face bloody from hitting the ground. Within 10 minutes, all 4 men were removed from the restaurant, loaded into separate FBI vehicles. Agent Morrison stayed behind to take statements from Nathan and Simone. You did well, Morrison said, reviewing the recording from Nathan's device. This is exactly what we needed. Clear, explicit threats and demands. Combined with the evidence Ms. Chong has been providing us, we have airtight cases against all of them. What happens now? Nathan asked, his hands still shaking with adrenaline. Now they're processed, charged, and held without bail given flight risk. We'll need detailed statements from both of you over the next few days. There will be a trial eventually, but with this much evidence, I expect plea deals. These men are looking at serious prison time. And the fake evidence they created about me? Nathan asked. We've already got our forensics team analyzing it. By end of business today, we'll have released a statement to the press clarifying that you're the victim of an extortion plot, not the perpetrator of any crimes. Your reputation will be intact, Mr. Pierce. Relief flooded through Nathan so powerfully his knees weakened. Simone grabbed his arm, steadying him. Thank you, Nathan managed. Thank you all so much. After the FBI left, after they'd given their initial statements and scheduled follow-up interviews, Nathan and Simone stood alone in the now empty private dining room. The lunch they'd never eaten still sat on the table, cold and forgotten. It's over, Simone said softly. It's really over. Nathan turned to her, and suddenly all the fear and tension and stress of the past week crashed over him like a wave. His eyes filled with tears and he didn't try to stop them. I couldn't have done this without you, he said, his voice breaking. I would have given in. I would have lost everything. But you showed up. You just showed up and saved me. Simone pulled him into a hug, holding him tight. We saved each other, Nathan. You gave me purpose. You reminded me why I do this work. We were exactly what each other needed. They stood there for a long time, holding each other in that empty dining room, the weight of the week finally lifting. When they finally separated, both of them were crying, but they were smiling too. Beverly appeared in the doorway. Hey, you two okay? We're perfect, Simone said, wiping her eyes. We're absolutely perfect. Good. Because there are about 50 reporters outside who want statements about the dramatic FBI raid at an Italian restaurant. Nathan, your company's stock is actually up 5% since news broke that you were the victim, not the perpetrator. The board is calling. The media wants interviews. Welcome to the aftermath. Nathan laughed, the sound bordering on hysterical. Crisis management? Crisis management, Simone confirmed. Lucky for you, that's my specialty. Come on, let's go face the cameras and tell your story. The real story. They walked out of Bella Vista together into the flashing cameras and shouted questions, but Nathan didn't feel afraid anymore. Simone was beside him, Beverly was behind him, and the truth was on his side. 3 hours later, after statements and interviews and phone calls, they finally made it back to Nathan's penthouse. They collapsed on the couch, exhausted but triumphant. I can't believe it's over, Nathan said, staring at the ceiling. Believe it? Richardson and his crew are in federal custody. Your company is safe. Your reputation is intact. You won, Nathan. We won, he corrected, turning to look at her. Simone, I need to tell you something. What? I'm in love with you. The words hung in the air between them, huge and honest and terrifying. Simone's eyes widened, and for a moment Nathan thought he'd made a terrible mistake, said too much too soon. But then she smiled, brilliant and beautiful, and said, I'm in love with you too. Nathan pulled her close and kissed her, really kissed her for the first time. Not for cameras or appearances or strategy, but because he wanted to, because she was extraordinary and brave and kind, and she'd changed his entire life. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, Simone laughed. So, she said, what do we do now? Now, Nathan said, pulling her closer, we start over. No more pretending. No more crisis. Just us figuring out what this is and where it goes. I like that plan, Simone agreed. I like it very much. They spent the rest of the day together, ordering food, watching movies, just being two people who'd survived something terrible and come out stronger. And when night fell and they finally retreated to their bedrooms, Nathan lay in bed smiling, knowing that tomorrow would be the first day of something new. Something real. Something lasting. The nightmare was over and the dream was just beginning. Saturday morning sunshine poured through Nathan's bedroom windows, warm and golden. He woke slowly, peacefully, without the immediate jolt of fear that had characterized every morning for weeks. The threat was gone. Richardson was in custody. Life could begin again. His phone showed dozens of messages, news alerts about the arrests, requests for interviews, congratulations from colleagues. But one message stood out from his company's board chairman. Emergency board meeting Monday 9 a.m. Need to discuss recent events and company direction. Your presence required. Nathan's stomach clenched slightly. The board would have questions, concerns about the attempted blackmail and how it might affect the company long-term. But with Simone's help, he could handle it. Simone. The thought of her made him smile. Last night's confession, the kiss, the promise of something real between them, it all felt like a beautiful dream. But it was real. She was real. He found her in the kitchen again, this time making omelets and singing softly to music playing from her phone. She wore one of his oversized shirts over leggings, her hair loose around her shoulders. She looked comfortable at home, like she belonged in his space and his life. Good morning, he said, and she turned with a brilliant smile. Good morning. How are you feeling? Lighter. Freer. Happy. He moved closer, wrapping his arms around her waist from behind. Really happy. She leaned back against him. Me too. Though I have to admit, I'm a little scared. Of what? Of this. What if the only reason we fell for each other was the crisis? What if without the danger and drama, we realize we're not actually compatible? Nathan turned her to face him, his hands on her shoulders. Simone, I fell for you because you're kind and brave and brilliant. Because you make me laugh and challenge me to be better. Because you see me, really see me, not just the CEO or the money or the company. That has nothing to do with the crisis. That's just you. And I fell for you because you're good, Simone said softly. Genuinely good. You could have been bitter and angry about what was happening, but instead you were just scared and trying to protect everyone else. You care about your employees, about your parents' legacy, about doing right by people. That's who you are with or without blackmailers. So we're not just crisis bonded? No, Simone smiled. We're real bonded. If that's a term. It is now. Nathan kissed her forehead. I have a board meeting Monday morning. They'll want to know everything that happened. Will you help me prepare? Of course. That's what partners do. We help each other. They spent the morning making plans not for fighting criminals, but for building a life together. Simone would keep her apartment but stay at the penthouse most of the time. They'd go on actual dates, no pretense required. They'd take things at a pace that felt right for both of them. "I want to do this right," Nathan said as they sat together on the couch, coffee mugs in hand. "No rushing, no pressure. Just seeing where this goes naturally." "Agreed. Though I have to say, living together before our first real date is pretty backwards. We're unconventional." "I'm okay with that." Beverly called mid-morning, her voice excited. "Have you seen the news? Richardson's previous victims are coming forward now that he's been arrested. 5 more companies are filing charges. The FBI says this could be one of the biggest corporate fraud cases in years." "You're a hero, Nathan." "I'm not a hero. I'm just someone who had good people helping him." "Take the compliment," Beverly laughed. "Also, your PR team wants to schedule a major interview, something to tell your story properly. I think it's a good idea. Control the narrative." "I'll think about it." "Beverly, thank you. For everything. I couldn't have done this without you." "You're welcome. Now go enjoy your weekend with your very real girlfriend. You've earned it." After the call, Nathan turned to Simone. "Want to get out of here? Do something normal? Maybe tackle one of our fears." "What did you have in mind?" "There's a rooftop observation deck downtown. Highest point in the city. I've never been because of my height fear. But maybe with you there I could try." Simone's expression softened. "That's brave, Nathan. But are you sure?" "No. But I want to try anyway. Will you come with me?" "Of course. And maybe someday you can come to a pool with me. We'll face our fears together." They drove downtown to the observation deck, a glass-enclosed platform on the 60th floor of a skyscraper. Nathan's palms started sweating in the elevator and Simone took his hand. "We can leave any time," she assured him. "No judgment." When the elevator doors opened, Nathan stepped out onto the platform and immediately felt his head spin. The city spread out below them in every direction, tiny cars and buildings stretching to the horizon. The glass floor showed the straight drop to the ground far below. "I've got you," Simone said, holding his hand tight. "Look at me, not down." Nathan focused on her face, her steady brown eyes. "Why did I think this was a good idea?" "Because you're brave. Because you wanted to prove to yourself that you can do hard things. And you're doing it, Nathan. You're standing here." Slowly, carefully, Nathan let himself look around. The view was stunning, the city beautiful from this height. His fear didn't disappear, but with Simone beside him, it felt manageable. "Thank you," he said after a few minutes. "For being here." "Always," Simone replied. They spent an hour at the observation deck, Nathan gradually becoming more comfortable with the height. It wasn't easy and he wouldn't say his fear was cured, but he'd faced it. That mattered. Lunch was at a small cafe Simone loved, the kind of place Nathan would never have found on his own. They ate sandwiches and talked about their childhoods, their families, their dreams for the future. "I want to expand my crisis management firm," Simone shared. "Take on bigger cases, build a team of consultants. I've been doing it alone for too long. Time to grow." "I'll help however I can," Nathan offered. "Advice, connections, whatever you need." "Thank you. And what about you? What do you want now that you're not fighting for survival?" Nathan considered the question. "I want to make Pierce Technologies more than just profitable. I want it to matter, to make a real difference. Maybe expand our charity work, fund scholarships for underprivileged kids interested in tech. Honor my parents' belief that technology should help people." "That's beautiful, Nathan. And I want a life outside of work. Time for hobbies, friends, you. I've been half alive for 4 years. Time to be fully alive again." That evening they cooked dinner together, a proper meal with fresh ingredients from the market. They set the table nicely, lit candles, made it special. It felt like their first real date even though they were just at home. "Tell me about your parents," Simone said over pasta. "I want to know more about them." Nathan smiled, remembering. Mom was the dreamer, always coming up with wild ideas. Dad was the practical one who figured out how to make her dreams work. They balanced each other perfectly. They met in college, both studying computer science when that was still new and exciting. Built their company together, raised me together, did everything as a team. They sound wonderful. They were. The accident that killed them was random, senseless. Wrong place, wrong time. A drunk driver ran a red light and hit their car head-on. They died instantly, together, which I guess is something. They wouldn't have wanted to live without each other. I'm so sorry, Nathan. Me too. But I think they'd be proud of what I've done with the company, how I've honored their legacy. And I think they'd love you. Simone's eyes glistened. You think so? I know so. They always said the measure of a person is how they treat others when there's nothing to gain. You helped me when you had nothing to gain. You risked yourself for a stranger. They would have loved that about you. Tell me about your family, Nathan said, wanting to know everything about her. Smaller, louder, messier than yours probably, Simone laughed. I'm the middle of 5 kids. 2 older brothers, 2 younger sisters. We're spread out across the country now, but we stay close. My parents are still in Detroit where I grew up, running a small restaurant. They're amazing people, worked hard their whole lives to give us opportunities. Do they know about me? About this. I called them yesterday, told them the basics. They're suspicious that I'm moving so fast, but I assured them you're worth it. Mom wants to meet you. I'd like that. I'd like to meet them. They finished dinner and settled on the couch, finding a movie to watch but mostly just talking, learning each other in the way new couples do. Every story, every revelation, every laugh deepened their connection. Simone, Nathan said during a quiet moment, when you first whispered, "Pretend I'm yours" at the wedding, did you have any idea this would happen? That we'd fall in love? No, she admitted. I just saw someone in trouble and wanted to help. But looking back, maybe some part of me knew. Some part of me saw you and thought, he's important, pay attention. Does that sound crazy? No. It sounds perfect. Sunday passed in peaceful domesticity. They read the newspapers together, Nathan processing all the articles about Richardson's arrest and his own vindication. They went for a long walk in the park, holding hands and talking. They called Beverly and took her to dinner to celebrate properly, the 3 of them toasting to justice and friendship and new beginnings. You 2 are disgustingly cute, Beverly observed, watching Nathan and Simone share a dessert. I give it 6 months before there's a ring. Beverly, Nathan protested, but he was smiling. What? I call it like I see it. You're in love, she's in love, you're perfect together. Why wait? Because we've known each other for 1 week, Simone laughed. And what a week it was. You've already been through more than most couples face in years. Crisis accelerates things. Beverly raised her glass. To crisis acceleration. They toasted, laughing, and Nathan realized Beverly was right. He'd been through more with Simone in 1 week than he'd experienced with anyone else in years. They'd faced danger together, trusted each other completely, built something real under extraordinary circumstances. Maybe the timeline didn't matter as much as the foundation they'd built. That night, back at the penthouse, Nathan and Simone stood by the windows looking out at the city. Tomorrow he'd face the board, return to regular life, navigate being a CEO without a crisis hanging over him. Nervous about tomorrow? Simone asked. A little. But I've got my notes prepared, thanks to you. And I know what I want to say. The board will understand. They might have concerns, but I can address them. You'll be brilliant. Simone leaned against him. Nathan, I need to tell you something important. What? I love you. I know we said it yesterday in the heat of the moment, but I want to say it again now, when everything's calm and settled. I love you. You're kind and good and brave, and I want to build a life with you. Nathan turned her to face him, his hands cupping her face gently. I love you too, Simone. More than I thought I could love anyone. You saved my life and then you taught me how to live it. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I want you in it. They kissed, slow and sweet, a promise of all the days to come. When they separated, both smiling, Nathan made a decision. Move in with me. Officially, not just as cover. Bring all your stuff, make this place yours too. Let's stop pretending this is temporary. Simone's eyes widened. Are you sure? That's a big step. I'm sure. We've been doing this backwards anyway. We might as well keep going that direction. What do you say? Yes, Simone said, laughing. Yes, I'll officially move in with you, you backwards billionaire. They sealed it with another kiss, and Nathan felt his life clicking into place. The empty penthouse would become a home. The lonely CEO would become part of a partnership. The man who'd nearly lost everything would build something better. All because a brave woman whispered, "Pretend I'm yours," and then made it real. Monday morning arrived with crisp professionalism. Nathan dressed in his best suit, navy blue with a white shirt and the tie his mother had given him. Simone helped him with his cufflinks, her touch steadying his nerves. You've got this, she said, straightening his collar. The board knows you're the victim here, not the problem. Just be honest, be clear, and remind them that Pierce Technologies came through this stronger. Will you come with me? To the office, I mean. Not into the board meeting, but just being there would help. Of course. I'm your partner. Where you go, I go. They drove to Pierce Technologies together, and Nathan felt the familiar weight of responsibility settle over him. This was his company, his legacy, his duty. But now it didn't feel like a burden. With Simone beside him, it felt like purpose. Beverly met them in the lobby. Ready for the firing squad? That's reassuring, Nathan said dryly. Relax, I'm kidding. Well, mostly. The board is concerned but supportive. They just want answers. And Nathan, there's someone else here to see you. FBI agent Morrison. He's waiting in your office with news. Nathan and Simone exchanged glances. They went up to the executive floor, where Agent Morrison stood looking out Nathan's windows at the city view. Mr. Pierce, Miss Taylor. Thank you for seeing me. Morrison turned with a satisfied expression. I wanted to deliver some news personally. As of this morning, all 4 men have been formally charged with multiple counts of extortion, blackmail, fraud, and racketeering. Richardson and DeLuca have already accepted plea deals, 20 years each in federal prison. Torres and Miller are going to trial, but we're confident we'll get convictions. 20 years? Nathan breathed. They're really going to prison. For a long time, yes. More importantly, we've shut down their entire operation. Digital Phantom Solutions, the company that created the fake documents, has been raided. 3 more people arrested. We've also recovered funds that they stole from previous victims. Some of that money will be returned. What about the people whose companies they destroyed? Simone asked. Like Isabel Grant? We're working with her and the other victims on restitution. It won't undo the damage, but it's something. Mr. Pierce, your willingness to go on record and testify broke this case wide open. You've helped more people than just yourself. After Morrison left, Nathan sat at his desk, processing everything. 20 years. The men who terrorized him would spend the next 2 decades behind bars. Justice had been served truly and completely. How do you feel? Simone asked, sitting across from him. Relieved. Validated. Grateful. Nathan looked at her. And ready to move forward. Ready for the board meeting and whatever comes next. The board meeting started at 9 sharp. 12 board members sat around the long conference table, their expressions ranging from concerned to curious. Nathan stood at the head of the table, a presentation ready, his notes organized. Thank you all for coming, he began. I know you have questions about recent events. I'm here to answer all of them with complete transparency. He walked them through everything. The initial approach by the fake investors, the manufactured evidence, the escalating threats, the decision to fight back with help from Simone and Beverly, and finally the FBI sting operation that led to arrests. Why didn't you tell us sooner? Asked Margaret Chin, the board's longest-serving member. We could have helped. I was scared, Nathan admitted. Scared of looking weak, scared of putting anyone else at risk, scared that involving more people would somehow make it worse. I was wrong. The moment I accepted help from Simone and Beverly, we started winning. The lesson I learned is that leadership isn't about handling everything alone. It's about building the right team and trusting them. Another board member, Richard Okafor, leaned forward. What's the damage to the company? Stock price, reputation, client confidence. Surprisingly minimal. Our stock actually rose 5% when the news broke that I was the victim, not the perpetrator. Clients have been supportive. The media coverage has been largely positive, portraying Pierce Technologies as a company that stood up to corporate criminals. Nathan pulled up slides showing the data. If anything, this crisis has strengthened our reputation for integrity. What about Miss Taylor? Margaret asked. The news says she's your girlfriend, but she's also been described as a crisis management consultant. Which is it? Nathan smiled. Both. Simone and I met at a wedding the night the blackmailers cornered me. She intervened to help, initially pretending to be my girlfriend to throw them off balance. During the week we worked together to build the case against them, our fake relationship became real. So yes, she's my girlfriend, and yes, she's an exceptional crisis management professional. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. Some might see a conflict of interest, Richard noted, though his tone wasn't accusatory, just observant. If Simone were being paid by the company, I'd agree, Nathan said. But she helped me as a person, not as Pierce Technologies CEO. She risked her own safety out of kindness and a commitment to justice. If anything, I hope we can eventually bring her firm in as consultants for the company, properly contracted and compensated. Her expertise would be valuable. The board members exchanged glances, silent communication passing between them. Finally, Margaret spoke. Nathan, this board has always trusted your judgment. You've grown Pierce Technologies beyond anything your parents could have imagined. You've maintained their values while building something huge. This crisis could have destroyed everything, but instead, you handled it with intelligence and integrity. We're not upset. We're impressed. Relief flooded through Nathan. Thank you. That means everything. However, Richard added, we do want regular security audits moving forward. What happened to you could happen to anyone. We need better protocols for detecting and responding to corporate threats. Agreed. Beverly is already working on that. We'll have recommendations by next month's meeting. They spent another hour discussing company strategy, upcoming projects, and growth plans. When the meeting finally adjourned, board members came up to shake Nathan's hand, offer congratulations, and welcome him back from crisis. Margaret lingered after the others left. Nathan, your parents would be so proud of you. Not just for building this company but for staying true to yourself through all of this. You're a good man. Don't forget that. Thank you, Margaret. That means the world coming from you. After she left, Nathan found Simone waiting in his office with Beverly, both of them looking expectant. Well? Simone asked. How did it go? Perfect. They were supportive, understanding, and impressed. No fallout, no damage. We're good. Nathan pulled Simone into a hug. We're really good. Told you, Beverly said smugly. Now, can we please celebrate? I've been holding champagne in the break room fridge for 3 days waiting for this. They popped champagne in Nathan's office, toasting to victories both legal and personal. Other employees, hearing about the celebration, stopped by to congratulate Nathan. The atmosphere in the office felt lighter than it had in weeks. Speech, Beverly called out as more people gathered. The CEO should say something inspirational. Nathan stood, raising his glass. I just want to say thank you. To all of you. This company works because of your dedication and talent. The past few weeks reminded me that we're more than just a business. We're a family. And like any family, we're strongest when we support each other. I promise to be a better leader moving forward, more open, more communicative, more willing to ask for help when I need it. Thank you for being part of Pierce Technologies. Applause filled his office, genuine and warm. As people filtered back to their desks, Nathan felt something he hadn't felt in years: complete contentment. Not just satisfaction with success but actual joy in the moment. That afternoon, Nathan and Simone met with a reporter from a major business publication for the interview Beverly had arranged. They told their story together, Simone describing the moment she decided to help, Nathan explaining how her intervention had saved everything. What's next for you both? The reporter asked at the end. Nathan looked at Simone and she nodded encouragement. Next, we build a life together. Simone's officially moving into my place. We're figuring out what a real relationship looks like after starting under such unusual circumstances. And we're both committed to helping others who face similar situations. No one should have to fight corporate criminals alone. That's beautiful, the reporter said. One last question. Simone, why did you help him? You didn't know Nathan Pierce. You had nothing to gain. Why risk yourself? Simone smiled. Because kindness matters. Because hope matters. Because when you see someone drowning and you can help, you help. It's that simple. We make the world better by showing up for each other, especially when it's hard. Nathan needed someone to show up and I was there. That's not heroic. That's just human. The interview ended and Nathan knew those words would be the headline. They were perfect, capturing everything about Simone that made him love her. That evening they returned to the penthouse, exhausted but happy. Simone had already started moving her things in, boxes stacked in the guest bedroom that would become her office. I called my parents, Simone said over takeout dinner. Told them everything, including that I'm moving in with you. Mom cried happy tears. Dad wants to meet you soon, give you the protective father speech. I look forward to it. When can we visit them? Maybe next month? Give us time to settle into this new normal first. Sounds perfect. They spent the evening unpacking Simone's boxes together, finding places for her books on Nathan's shelves, her photos on his walls. The empty penthouse was transforming into a real home, filled with evidence of two lives combining. Thank you, Nathan said as they hung one of Simone's paintings in the living room, a vibrant abstract in reds and blues. For making this place feel alive. Thank you for letting me in. I know trust is hard for you after everything you've been through. It's not hard with you. With you, everything feels easy. Later, lying in bed, Nathan's mind wandered to the past week. 7 days ago he'd been alone and terrified, convinced his life was ending. Now he had love, partnership, justice, and hope. All because of one woman's courage. Simone, he called softly. Yeah. Her voice came from the guest room where she was still settling in. Thank you. For everything. For being my hero. You're welcome. And Nathan? You were your own hero too. You fought back. You trusted us. You did the brave thing. Give yourself credit. Nathan smiled in the darkness. Maybe she was right. Maybe courage wasn't just about not being scared. Maybe it was about being scared and choosing to fight anyway, choosing to trust, choosing to hope. He'd done that. They'd all done that together. And now they got to live in the aftermath of their bravery, building something beautiful from the ashes of crisis. 3 months later, spring arrived with cherry blossoms and sunshine. Nathan stood in front of his bathroom mirror, adjusting his tie for what felt like the 100th time. Blue silk, his mother's gift, the one he always wore for important occasions. "You look handsome," Simone said from the doorway. She wore a flowing yellow dress that made her glow. "Stop fidgeting." "Can't help it. I'm nervous." "About a wedding?" "You've been to dozens of weddings." "Not as someone who's about to propose." Simone's eyes widened. "Nathan Pierce, are you saying what I think you're saying?" Nathan pulled a small velvet box from his pocket, opening it to reveal a stunning diamond ring, elegant and simple. "I'm saying that 3 months ago, you whispered, 'Pretend I'm yours,' and changed my entire life. I'm saying that every day with you has been better than the last. I'm saying I don't want to pretend anymore and I don't want to wait. Simone Taylor, will you marry me?" Tears filled Simone's eyes. "Nathan, we talked about taking things slow." "I know. And we have been. 3 months of dates and conversations and building a life together. 3 months of falling more in love with you every single day. I don't need more time to know you're the person I want to spend my life with." He took her hand. "But if you need more time, I'll wait. However long you need." "I don't need more time," Simone said, laughing through tears. "Yes. Yes, Nathan, I'll marry you." Nathan slipped the ring onto her finger and they kissed, sealing the promise. When they separated, both grinning, Simone shook her head in disbelief. "You were going to propose at someone else's wedding?" "Actually, I was going to propose at the reception, in the exact spot where you first sat down beside me and saved my life. Full circle, you know? That's ridiculously romantic. I love it. I love you." They arrived at the wedding venue, the same hotel where Nathan's business partner had gotten married 3 months ago. Walking through the doors brought back a flood of memories. The fear, the desperation, the 3 men surrounding him, and then Simone appearing like an angel. "Hard to believe it was only 3 months ago," Nathan said as they found their seats. "Best 3 months of my life," Simone replied, admiring her ring. Beverly spotted them and rushed over, pulling them both into hugs. "You're glowing. Both of you. What's going on?" Simone held up her hand, showing the ring. Beverly squealed, drawing attention from nearby guests. "You're engaged? Since when?" "Since about an hour ago," Nathan laughed. "I proposed at home." "And you're still going through with the public proposal at the reception?" "Nathan, you romantic fool." "I love it." Beverly hugged them again. "I'm so happy for you both. You deserve every bit of happiness." The wedding ceremony was beautiful, 2 people in love promising forever to each other. Nathan held Simone's hand throughout, thinking about his own forever starting now. After the ceremony, guests moved to the reception hall, the same space where Nathan's nightmare had begun. He found the table where he'd sat 3 months ago, where Richardson and his crew had cornered him. Simone saw where he was looking and squeezed his hand. "Different now," she said. "Everything's different. Everything's better." They mingled with other guests, catching up with colleagues and friends. Nathan introduced Simone to people she hadn't met yet, and everyone commented on how happy they both looked. Because they were happy genuinely and completely. Richardson and his associates were in federal prison, serving their sentences. The trial for Torres and Miller had resulted in convictions, adding years to their prison terms. Justice had been served thoroughly and completely. Pierce Technologies had thrived in the aftermath, the company's reputation strengthened by Nathan's handling of the crisis. Stock prices were up, new clients were signing, and employee morale was the highest it had been in years. Simone's crisis management firm had expanded, just as she'd hoped. She'd hired 3 new consultants and was handling bigger, more complex cases. Her reputation had grown significantly after the publicity around Nathan's case. They traveled to Detroit to meet Simone's family, and Nathan had survived the protective father speech and the overwhelming energy of 5 siblings all talking at once. They'd loved him, welcomed him, and made him feel like part of their loud, messy, wonderful family. Life was good. Life was full. And now Nathan was about to make it even better. After dinner, as the dancing began, Nathan took Simone's hand and led her to the exact spot where she'd first sat beside him 3 months ago. Other guests were dancing, talking, celebrating, but Nathan only saw Simone. "This is where it all started," he said. "Right here you saw someone in trouble and decided to help. You didn't know me. You had nothing to gain. But you showed up anyway and you changed everything. Nathan, Simone said softly, seeing what was coming. 3 months ago you whispered, "Pretend I'm yours." Today I'm asking you to make it permanent. To really be mine and let me be yours for the rest of our lives. Nathan got down on one knee, pulling out the ring box again even though the ring was already on her finger. "Simone Taylor, will you marry me?" The music stopped. Guests realized what was happening and turned to watch. Simone laughed, tears streaming down her face. "Yes. I already said yes, you ridiculous man. I know, but I wanted to ask you here where it all began. Wanted everyone to see me promise to love you forever." Nathan stood, and they kissed as applause erupted around them. People cheered, whistled, celebrated this unexpected addition to the wedding reception. The bride and groom came over, hugging them both and demanding to know the story. As Nathan explained how they'd met at another wedding 3 months ago, how Simone had rescued him from disaster, Beverly appeared with champagne glasses for everyone nearby. "A toast," she called out. To Nathan and Simone, who proved that sometimes the best relationships start with the bravest acts of kindness. To love that shows up when it matters most. To Nathan and Simone, the crowd echoed. They danced together, swaying to slow music, surrounded by happiness and hope. Nathan pulled Simone close, breathing in her perfume, feeling her heartbeat against his chest. "Thank you," he whispered. "For seeing me. For saving me. For loving me." "Thank you for letting me," Simone replied. "For trusting me. For building this life with me. So when should we get married? Long engagement or quick wedding?" "Quick," Simone said without hesitation. "I don't need a long engagement. I already know I want forever with you. Let's start forever as soon as possible." "6 months? Perfect." They danced through the evening, celebrating not just their engagement but everything they'd overcome to get here. As the reception wound down, they stood by the windows looking out at the city lights, the same view Nathan had seen 3 months ago when his world was crumbling. "A lot has changed," he said. "Everything has changed," Simone corrected. "We changed it. Together. I love you. I love you too." 6 months later, on a perfect autumn day with leaves turning gold and red, Nathan and Simone got married in a small ceremony surrounded by family and friends. Beverly cried through the entire thing. Simone's family filled the first 3 rows, loud and joyful. Nathan's board members attended, showing their support. Nathan wore his blue silk tie. Simone wore a stunning white dress that made her look like a dream come to life. They wrote their own vows, promises of partnership and love and showing up for each other always. "I promise to be your safe place," Nathan said, his voice strong and clear. "To support your dreams, to hold your hand through challenges, and to never take for granted the gift of your love. You saved my life, Simone. Now I promise to make that life worth saving. I promise to be your partner in everything," Simone said, tears on her cheeks. "To challenge you, support you, and love you through whatever comes. You taught me that vulnerability is strength and that asking for help is courage. Thank you for letting me in. Thank you for choosing me." They kissed as husband and wife, and the small gathering erupted in applause. At the reception held in a beautiful garden, Nathan gave a toast. "I want to thank everyone who's here today. Especially Beverly, who stood by me when things were darkest. My board members who trusted me through crisis. Simone's family who welcomed me with open arms. And most of all Simone. 3 months after we met, I proposed in the exact spot where you first pretended to be mine. Today you really became mine and I became yours. Best trade I've ever made." Laughter and applause filled the garden. Simone gave her own toast. "Someone once asked me why I helped Nathan when I had nothing to gain. The answer is simple, because kindness matters. Because hope matters. Because love, in all its forms, is what makes life worth living. Nathan, you've taught me that building a life is more important than just surviving one. Thank you for being my partner, my love, my home." They danced their first dance as husband and wife to soft jazz music, the same kind of music that had played the first time they danced together at the gala. Everything had come full circle, from pretense to reality, from crisis to joy, from strangers to forever. Late in the evening, as the party continued around them, Nathan and Simone stole away to a quiet corner of the garden. "Happy?" Nathan asked. "Incredibly happy. You." "More than I knew was possible." Nathan kissed her forehead. "Thank you for whispering, 'Pretend I'm yours' that night. Thank you for making it real. Thank you for being worth saving." for being brave enough to accept help, for building this beautiful life with me. They stood together under the stars, husband and wife, partners in everything. The nightmare that had brought them together was long past, replaced by a dream neither had dared to imagine. Richardson was in prison. Justice had been served. Pierce Technologies thrived. Simone's firm flourished. Their families blended. Their love grew. And it all started with a desperate whisper at a wedding, a stranger's courage, and the choice to show up when it mattered most. Forever starts now, Nathan said. Forever started 3 months ago, Simone corrected with a smile. We're just making it official. They walked back to their reception hand in hand, ready to celebrate with everyone they loved. Ready to start their honeymoon the next day, traveling to destinations they'd picked together. Ready for all the years ahead, all the challenges they'd face, all the joys they'd share. Because they'd learned the most important lesson, that kindness and hope and love aren't just words. They're actions. They're choices. They're showing up when someone needs you and trusting someone to show up for you. Simone had shown up for Nathan when he needed her most. And Nathan had spent every day since then showing up for her. That's what love looked like. That's what forever meant. And they were ready for all of it together. Sometimes the best love stories start with the worst circumstances. Sometimes a whisper changes everything. And sometimes when you choose kindness over convenience, hope over fear, and love over isolation, you don't just save someone's life. You build a new one together.